Pokémon, the story of Yu. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 226, 10 million volts. Shocking power. Master Yu is worthy of being a master. His Absol is powerful. With one move of destruction and death, he created the power of a sandstorm. Has Zyos' Pikachu lost its ability to fight? Is today's exhibition match over? As the commentator was speaking, a tiny black dot suddenly enlarged in the sand. Then, a figure fell quickly, and a powerful steel tail hit Absol's head hard, knocking Absol's head into the ground, then bounced back, and stood up again, revealing Pikachu's proud voice. What happened? Pikachu actually avoided Absol's powerful destruction and death, and seemed to be unscathed. How is this possible? The commentator was full of shock, and the audience on the field was also full of surprise, and then excited. They had finally spent money to buy tickets to come in, so they naturally wanted the game to last longer and be more variable. Let's watch from a high altitude camera. The commentator mobilized the cameras around. For such a large scale competition, in order to be fair, just and open, there are usually multiple cameras recording to prevent cheating and other behaviors. Soon, the camera image came out, showing the scene of Pikachu's last battle. Facing the powerful destruction ray, Pikachu sat back, pressed the tail spring, and then the whole body bounced into the sky with the force, successfully avoiding the destruction ray. What an amazing Pokémon! Pikachu actually used its own characteristics to avoid Absol's destruction ray, which is really amazing. It proves that Zyos usually cultivates it well. The commentator said, "It's really worthy of your Pikachu. No matter how strong it is, it can have unexpected changes." Yu laughed. Of course, Pikachu is the best. Zyos said proudly. He believes in Pikachu, even more than himself. That's why I have to use all my strength, and can't give you any chance to turn defeat into victory. Absol, right? Yu said. Absol yelled angrily. He was hit on the head, even after he mega evolved. Moreover, the one who hit him was the one he had beaten down before. He couldn't stand it. Good. Evil wave. Yu shouted. Absol opened his mouth wide, and a powerful energy wave burst out, engulfing Pikachu. Pikachu, you Scientail, hit it back. Zyos said. Pikachu's tail flashed, and it swung violently, hitting the evil wave, rebounding the evil wave energy ball. Hell thrust. But before the evil wave energy ball rebounded, Absol suddenly appeared in front of Pikachu, with its full limb shining with dark red light, hitting Pikachu violently, knocking Pikachu away. Not to mention that it has mega evolved now. Even if it hadn't, Pikachu would not be Absol's opponent. Not to mention that it has mega evolved now. Absol and Yu were in harmony with each other, and the attack was fierce, like a rainstorm and a strong wind, forcing Pikachu into a desperate situation. There is still a huge gap between Zyos' Pikachu and Master Yu's Absol. It is no match for Master Yu's Absol. Will this match end with Absol's easy victory? At this time, the commentator and even the audience did not think that Zyos had a chance to turn the tables. Zyos felt unprecedented pressure. This was the second match. If he lost again, there would be no third match. He must win. The Z crystal on Zyos' wrist shone, and Z moves were the last fight. Pikachu and Zyos were in harmony, and the power of electricity emanated from the Z crystal, connecting each other. A familiar power was about to burst out, but at this moment, the Z crystal on Zyos' wrist suddenly changed from a diamond to a lightning shape, and the pure yellow electric current turned into colorful. Yu, who thought he had won the game, saw this strange scene. His expression changed, and he hurriedly said, "Use the most powerful destruction ray. It must be interrupted. Otherwise, he might really be overturned." Although Absol was puzzled, Yu commanded, and immediately gathered the power of destruction, which turned into an orange-yellow beam of destruction in the air, waiting to explode. Pikachu, let's show everyone our full strength. The strongest attack, beyond 100,000 volts, 10 million volts. At this moment, Zyos suddenly shouted loudly, and the Z pure crystal on his wrist burst into colorful light, and injected into Pikachu's body. Pikachu's eyes widened, as if Thor was reborn, and the power of thunder struck violently. The colorful thunder fell, like the thunder of destruction, and hit Absol directly. The light was dazzling, covering everything, even exceeding the destructive death light of Absol's full strength attack. Energy exploded. With a bang, the field set off a sandstorm again, and the powerful energy wave pressed outward, even blowing Yu and Zyossi a little unstable. However, the two of them stared at the situation in the field without retreating a step. After the sand and dust dissipated, Absol exited the super evolution form and fell to the ground. Pikachu was still standing with difficulty, although he was covered in wounds and exhausted, but he still stood. Pikachu won. At the last moment, Zyos's Pikachu burst out with a shocking attack, shaking the thunder of the entire venue, and knocked Master Yu's Absol out of combatability. "It's really amazing," said the commentator. The audience around was still immersed in the thunder just now, and they couldn't come back to their senses for a long time, and then soon thunderous applause and cheers came from the audience. It's only this kind of battle that is interesting. Only in this way can there be 3 games, otherwise the ticket price will be lost. 10 million volts? What is this trick? A Z move? Gladian was surprised. He had never heard of such a Z move. "Grandpa, do you know?" Zyomeo asked Professor Oak directly, and a group of people also looked over, including Zyaksha and Zyagang. They were with Zyossi day and night, but they didn't know that Zyossi had this trick. It should be an exclusive Z move. Zyossi and Zyao have exactly the same configuration. Professor Oak said. Because of Yu's exclusive Z move, he specially learned about the information of Z move from his brothers in Alala. 10 million volts, never heard of it. But the power is too shocking. It even feels beyond the rhythm of the king. But what level is Zyos's Pikachu? He's not even wearing a hat. It's so foul. Yu took back Absol and couldn't help complaining. Professor Oak was surprised by the power of this move, but he was very calm. After all, this move, in the original book, defeated Tapu, the guardian of the island with electric attributes. I just didn't expect it to be used at this time. However, it's almost the same. The eternal super evolution and exclusive Z move are gone. In the third game, how are you going to turn the tables? Dragonite, control the wind and thunder. Chapter 227. The end of the performance. Master Yu and Zyossi each won 1 round. Now it's the third round, the moment to decide the winner. Master Yu sent out Dragonite. What Pokémon will Zyossi send out to fight? Who will win this exhibition match? The commentator explained the situation. Snorlax, please. Zyossi threw the Pokéball, and a heavy Tarzan Pokémon appeared on the field. The ground around it seemed to tremble. 2 squinting eyes looked naive, but the sturdy limbs showed that it was not easy to mess with. Snorlax. Yu nodded slightly, which was expected. In Zyos's current lineup, besides Charizard and Pikachu, it was the only Pokémon that Yu could pay attention to. Since the Silver Conference of the Johto League, every time he went on the field, he killed at least 2 Pokémon of the opponent, or even 3. It has strong defense and strong killing power. What's more, it has high agility and can even swim in fancy styles. However, fortunately, its weakness is also obvious. It can't fly, and its special move of long-range attack can only destroy 1. Dragonite is its nemesis. Dragonite, Storm. Yu shouted. Dragonite controlled the wind and thunder, and as soon as it appeared, dark clouds and heavy rain poured down. A pair of wings behind it vibrated, filled with the power of flying. It seemed to grow invisibly, and a strong wind blew up, ravaging the entire field, covering the rain and hitting Snorlax. Snorlax, hold your body, Zyossi said. Snorlax. Snorlax roared and exerted force with his feet. He was on the ground, looking directly at the raging wind. Other things had problems, but this was really no problem. This wind can't blow me away. Okay, that's it. Mount Tay is pressing down on me. Zyossi shouted. Snorlax's 2 squinting eyes burst into a fiery fighting spirit, and he jumped suddenly. His body flew into the sky like a cannonball, and he actually pressed straight towards Dragonite. Oh my god, Zyos's Snorlax is really well trained. He can actually jump so high and chase after Dragonite. The commentator exclaimed, and the audience cheered. Yu's eyes widened. You fat man, how can you jump so high? Snorlax, you stations pressure in succession. Zyozzy pursued the victory. Snorlax jumped violently, like a cannonball flying up, and like a comet falling, smashing deep pits on the ground to attack Dragonite. Yu frowned slightly. The competition was fair. Zyozzy couldn't fly, so he didn't open the skylight. Dragonite's flying distance was limited, otherwise it would be easy to abuse it. Now, using Feng Shui to attack is not very effective. Snorlax is a creature with thick fat and high defense, so it needs fists. Let's fight quickly. Dragonite, thunder. Yu said. Dragonite's figure floated, easily dodging Snorlax's attack, and came behind Dragonite. Then the tentacles on its head burst out a terrifying yellow electric current from the sky, hitting Snorlax, knocking Snorlax down from the sky, and electrocuting Snorlax's hair all over his body. Snorlax, are you okay? Zyozzy said. Snorlax proudly shook his head, indicating that he was fine. He had eaten so much, but it was not for nothing. Then I'll make you have trouble next, Dragonite. Dragon dance. Yu said. Dragonite danced in the sky, and the power of dragon type surged, quickly increasing its strength. Snorlax, jump up, use Frost Punch. Zyozzy shouted, and he knew that Frost Punch restrained dragon type. Snorlax roared, jumped up with all his strength, and punched Dragonite with a cold light. Come on, Dragonite full strength fierce punch. Yu's wrist shook, and Zed pure crystal shone with brown light. The aura of fortitude rose from his body, connecting himself and Dragonite. Dragonite was blessed with divine power, his eyes were stern, and he turned around suddenly, facing Snorlax, swung his fists, and fist shadows burst out in the sky, attacking Snorlax. In an instant, he punched Snorlax more than a dozen times. Snorlax fell to the ground with a bang, facing up to the sky, and fell to the ground in a big letter shape, and fainted directly. Snorlax has lost its ability to fight. Yu wins. The referee who was hiding on the side came out to announce the verdict. A powerful punch. Master Yu is worthy of being a master. Dragonite flies quickly and attacks powerfully. With a fierce fighting trick, he successfully defeated Zyozzy's Snorlax, and won the championship of this exhibition match. Of course, Zyozzy's strength should not be underestimated. Whether it is Charizard's super strong flame, Pikachu's dazzling colorful thunder, or even Snorlax's super strong jumping power, they are all very powerful. Let us look forward to the future development of the two trainers. The commentator finally explained, and put an end to this game. Zyozzy, your Charizard, Million Volts and Snorlax are all very different. I look forward to seeing you in the Champions League. Yu took back Dragonite, and looked at Yu and said, I will continue to travel, keep getting stronger, and try to catch up with you. Zyozzy said, okay, I'll wait for you in the Home League KIR conference. Yu said, KIR conference? Yu, your next travel area is the Hone region. Zyozzy said, that's right, don't not come. Yu said, in the animation, the reason why Zyozzy went to Hone was because he was defeated by Yu's Blaziken in Hone, so he went. Now there is no such opportunity. I don't know if he will go, but Yu definitely hopes that Zyozzy will go. After all, Zyozzy and Musashi are there. Yu feels very comfortable and thinks that the world will not be destroyed. I will definitely go. Zyozzy promised solemnly. Yu smiled slightly, walked off the stage, and did not accept the interviews from reporters. He returned to the lounge alone, and then lay directly on the bed, breathing heavily. I'd better not pretend to be cool in the future. I'm so tired. Pokémon Super Evolution and Z moves all consume the trainer's physical strength to a certain extent, so they cannot be used repeatedly in a short period of time. If it were just these two, Yu would not care, but with a bond evolution with Jenga, the loss would be a bit large. And there were so many cameras just now. In order to maintain the cool image of the winner, Yu certainly couldn't show weakness, so he held on all the way, and now he finally had a chance to rest. It was just a short while after lying on the bed that the phone rang. Yu rolled his eyes and almost wanted to turn off the phone. He picked up the phone and saw that it was Zyana-sung, a gym trainer in Yuansu City. After thinking for a while, he picked up the phone and said, is there anything? Yes. You have a good relationship with Xiaozi, right? Xiaosong said. Not bad. Yu said weakly. If the relationship between the two families was not good, he would have wanted to hang up now. Then he is really a human recognized by the King of Phoenix. Xiaosong said. That's right, it's the person that your Lingling Tower lineage has been chasing for hundreds of years, but has not been recognized by the King of Phoenix. The person recognized by the King of Phoenix. Yu said. In other words, what President Damalanki said is true. The King of Phoenix has finally recognized us humans again. Xiaosong said excitedly. Yes, but the person recognized by the King of Phoenix is not from your Lingling Tower lineage, so you won't be disappointed. Yu said. No, as long as the King of Phoenix can recognize us again, it's fine. And when Xiaozi came to challenge, I also saw that he is a very good trainer. We are willing to be his guardian until the King of Phoenix is willing to recognize us. Xiaosong said. Okay, you guys work hard. Go for it. Yu nodded. This should be the reason why President Damalanki told them about this. He really put a lot of effort into finding someone for Xiaozi. But what does Xiaozi like? Do you know? Xiaosong said. To get closer to Xiaozi, you must cater to his preferences. Pokémon. Yu said. Apart from this, Xiaozi really didn't like anything else. Pokémon? Can you be more specific? Xiaosong said. It's impossible to be specific. Xiaozi likes all Pokémon. To be honest, he likes evil type ones recently. You can give him a Yukara. Yu said. Chapter 228 Qixiang Fang Yuan. Grandpa Oak, can't you be flexible and give me the right to carry Pokémon? After the Silver Conference, Yu pestered Professor Oak. When traveling, the number of Pokémon you can carry cannot exceed 6. If you exceed 6, they will be automatically teleported to the Departure Institute. Therefore, it is necessary to talk to Professor Oak. Although Yu did not plan to capture any Pokémon in particular, he might meet one that he particularly likes while traveling. It is impossible to be flexible. This is the league rule and there can be no exceptions. A trainer's energy is limited. How much love can you give? Professor Oak said. My love is infinite, and infinity divided by a few is still infinite. And I also have Xiaoxu and Lily, and they only have one Pokémon, so the three of us together only have 8 Pokémon, which is not the level of 18 Pokémon at all. Yu said. That won't work either. This is a matter of principle. Professor Oak said firmly. Really not? Yu said. It's a matter of principle. No. Professor Oak said firmly. When it comes to matters of principle, he will never waver. If he opens a gap, what will happen to other things in the future? Okay, Grandpa Oak, you win. These are Jenga and Mewtwo's Pokeballs. Keep them. Yu took out 2 Pokeballs and handed them to Professor Oak. Give me both of them? Professor Oak was slightly surprised and then said, okay, although the Hone region is not weak, it is not to the point where they should be released. You should train Flamahorn and others well to make up for their shortcomings. As he spoke, Professor Oak opened the Pokeball and planned to release 2 Pokémon. To be honest, he has always wanted to study these 2, but he just didn't have the opportunity. However, when the Pokeball was opened, it was empty. The smile on Professor Oak's face froze immediately, and he said, boy, are you really not afraid that the Pokémon will run away or encounter other inconveniences? Leave the Pokeball with me? No. Yu smiled confidently. Ordinary trainers must bring Pokeballs when they go out, mainly because it is inconvenient to carry. For example, Snorlax and Gyarados cannot be taken out for travel without Pokeballs. Many places are not suitable for entry, and sometimes it is difficult to restrain Pokémon without Pokeballs. But Yu is really not afraid. Jenga can enter anyone's shadow and go anywhere, which is easy. As for Mewtwo, it has never scored a goal at all, it just occupies the quota. And Pokeballs can't restrain Mewtwo at all. With Mewtwo's ability, it can explode you in minutes. Isn't this against the rules of the league? Yu asked. Okay, it doesn't count, but if you go out to travel and capture any new Pokémon, you have to teleport it to me. Professor Oak said. Such obvious loophole behavior is also not in compliance with the rules. If it was someone else, Professor Oak would educate him, but it was Yu, so he chose to turn a blind eye. After all, he is his own junior, and the situation is indeed special. The top 4 of the Champions League can be called masters, and cannot be calculated according to ordinary trainers. Okay, I'm also looking forward to the Pokémon in Hone. When the time comes, maybe I will send some mythical beasts to you, Grandpa Oak, to take care of them. Yu said. That's a deal. Dr. Oak said excitedly. He didn't believe others, but he believed Yu. After all, Yu has Mewtwo. Well, it's settled. I'm leaving for Hone tomorrow, Yu said. No problem, you come to my place tomorrow. I'll prepare the Pokémon illustrations for you, as well as a letter of recommendation to Dr. Adormaki of Hone. When you arrive in the Hone area, contact Dr. Adormaki more often. His academic research is no less than mine. You can learn a lot from him. Dr. Oak said. I know. Yu nodded, and was full of expectations for tomorrow's trip to the Hone area. The mythical beasts in the world are all different, except for the 3 big guys in Hone, collectively known as the Hone 3 Fools. Green Caterpillar, Cartfly, and Fathead Fish. There are many kinds of mythical beasts in the world, but it is not rare to see a region like Hone where they are collectively persecuted, and have a lot of black history. It is unique. Guzma's 6 months in Hone have not been in vain. He has initially formed a team, and has discovered a ruin. He will go to study it first. If he can't find the Mega Evolution Stone, it would be great to find a few Mega Evolution Stones. At the same time, in the Sinnoh region, the backyard of the Mustard Mythology Research Institute, a beautiful lady lazily lies on a chair, her long legs generously exposed to the sun, her soft blonde hair naturally falls to one side, almost falling to the ground, her beautiful eyes half open and half closed, like the sleeping beauty in a fairy tale. Next to her, a mighty land shark keeps waving its sickle-like arms. This level of exercise has no effect on it, but it still strengthens itself. There is also an ice elf, tapping on a tablet with its little hands, playing games. Why? After coming back from Kalos, you have rested for more than half a month. Why don't you challenge the league, and become the champion? How long will you stay here? Or, you don't want to challenge the Champion League anymore, so you want to accompany me as a researcher. That would be great. An old woman with silver hair walked in, and looked at Sharona with a kind smile. Even if I challenge the 4 Heavenly Kings, what's the point of defeating Day, Wuzong and the others? Am I still the strongest? Super Evolution, Z moves, that power that surpasses everything. Sharona looked up at the sky, as if she had returned to that day again, with that powerful strength like a demon king. Remember the loss to the kid from the Kyojin family half a year ago? He was also lucky. After winning you, he lay in the hospital, and missed all the games that followed. Dr. Mustard said. But he always won. Mewtwo may be said to be luck, but Jenga is real strength, not to mention that luck is a kind of strength. If I hadn't met Garchomp, Day and the others would have been evenly matched. Sharona said. Then when you went to Kalos, didn't you find the Mega Evolution Stone of Garchomp? If you fight again now, you can shrink it. Dr. Mustard said. Yes, but I have tried it. Such a Mega Evolution can only increase Garchomp's strength by 30%. At that time, Yu's Jenga's strength was definitely more than 30%, and there was also a Z move. I later checked, and found that there was no such thing as a special move called Dimension Break in the past. So it's exclusive. Sharona said. From childhood to adulthood, others have always envied her. This is the first time to envy others. 2 exclusives. Unreasonable. Okay, then let's go to Hone and try. Dr. Mustard said. Hone? Sharona asked curiously. Yes, that is the myth of Hone. Legend has it that at the beginning of the world, a magical power came to this world from the sky. Rayquaza, Groudon, and Kyogre became heaven and earth beasts because they obtained such power, and they have different forms. This is a picture of a mural found in a ruin. Dr. Mustard handed the phone to Sharona. Sharona glanced at it, then sat up immediately, and said without any laziness, how come this Rayquaza is completely different from what we saw in the book? This should also be a kind of super evolution, but if it is, you need to verify it. Hone is the origin of super evolution, and there is power there that can improve even the mythical beasts. Dr. Mustard said. Grandma, I'll go to Hone tomorrow. Sharona got up, and put on her slippers, and got up to change clothes while talking. looking at her granddaughter who had cheered up again. Dr. Mustard smiled and said, "Wait, don't be so anxious. I contacted Dr. Blatano in the Kalos region before, and his assistant Alan is also going to the Kalos region. You can meet him first, learn more about super evolution, and take care of him by the way." "No problem." In the room, Sirona replied while changing clothes. At the same time, on the ocean, a ship was sailing. Alan looked at the Hone region with determination in his eyes. Only the strong can protect everything. He must reach the peak of super evolution and become the strongest. Next to him, there was a froglet, looking outside with a philosophical look on its face. As expected, he was sent back again. Who was the trainer I was going to follow this time? Was he going to take a boat? Was he the one destined for me? Chapter 229 Hone region. Is this Weebay town, where Professor Adamaki is? Lily said, looking at the vast forest in front of her. Yes, Professor Adamaki's research institute is here. Let's go. Yu smiled and walked up. As the starting point of the Pokémon League challenge and a place where new trainers receive Pokémon, Weebay Town, like Pallet Town, is more natural and the roads are narrow, so you can only walk. In fact, except for Dr. Kuka's research institute in the Alola region, where no one travels to challenge the gym, the research institutes of doctors in all other regions include a mountain. A group of 3 people, plus a Mewtwo and a Jenga, walked up. Mewtwo and Jenga didn't think it was a big deal, but Yu and the other 2 felt very comfortable. After all, they came to Hone by boat and sat for several days. Their bodies were shaken by the waves. They felt comfortable to walk properly. Not long after, they arrived at Dr. Adamaki's research institute and Yu pressed the doorbell. Then the door was opened, and a young man wearing a white coat with the logo of the institute walked out. When he saw Yu, his expression suddenly turned into joy, and he said, "Are you Master Yu? I'm Yu, but I can't be called a master. Is Dr. Adajuan here?" Yu asked politely. Yes. I knew you were coming, and Dr. Adajuan didn't go out for an inspection today, so I waited for you," the young man said enthusiastically. "Excuse me." Yu walked in with a smile, and soon saw a middle-aged uncle wearing loose shorts, unkempt, and a slightly fat figure. "It's Yu, you're finally here." The middle-aged uncle, Dr. Adajuan, stood up happily when he saw Yu. "Yes, hello, Dr. Adajuan." Seeing Dr. Adajuan stand up on his own initiative, Yu was a little flattered. Although he had a good family background and made it to the semi-finals of the Champions League, the status of a regional doctor was on par with that of a regional king, and he didn't deserve this treatment. However, Yu soon found that he was overthinking, because Dr. Odama said a few words to him to stop vomiting, and then walked towards Mewtwo and Jenga. "You are the legendary Mewtwo and the talking and evolving Jenga." Mewtwo looked arrogant and didn't bother to pay attention to Dr. Rodama, while Jenga put his hands on his hips and said, "Yes, it's me, Jenga, the strongest Jenga in the universe." "Can you really talk? Is this the result of your hard work, or is it because of the different places you live?" Dr. Rodama picked up the notebook and started to record. Jenga kept showing off proudly. Yu looked helpless, as expected. "I really don't deserve it. Sorry, once the doctor starts researching, it will be like this." The young man who led Yu in laughed awkwardly at Yu. "I understand, but the registration for the Alliance Challenge should be done here," Yu said. "Yes, I can help you with this," Dr. Odama's assistant said. "Then let's register first," Yu said. To be honest, he and Dr. Adajuan didn't have many common topics, and Dr. Adajuan was immersed in research at the moment, so he couldn't extricate himself. It was better not to disturb him. "Okay, there are 2 ladies. You can have a good tour of our institute," Dr. Adajuan's assistant said. "Thank you." Lily and Zyaksu nodded. The 2 women, one aspires to be the first breeder, and the other plans to become a researcher. And the doctors in each region are almost the culmination of both aspects. There are studies here. Walking to a wall and looking at a picture on it, Lily was full of curiosity. "What kind of Pokémon are these? I haven't seen them in books, but they don't look like fossil Pokémon." "Oh, this is ancient Pokémon," Dr. Adajuan's assistant said. "Ancient Pokémon? What is this? Isn't it a fossil Pokémon?" Lily asked curiously. No, ancient Pokémon refers to Pokémon with a long history, which has existed on this continent at least 30,000 years ago, and has not changed its form since ancient times. It is not a fossil Pokémon. Dr. Adajuan's assistant said. That is to say, Pokémon from the same era as the fossil Pokémon, but not fossilized, right? Yu, who had completed the registration, came over and said, "You can understand it superficially like this." Assistant Dr. Adamaki said, "If you go into detail, there are many differences, but it is not necessary for non-researchers to go into such detail. Then I really want to see the ancient Pokémon. I wonder how they got along with humans in the past years." Lily said with longing. Yes, what was the life of humans and Pokémon like in the past? Xiaoxu also said with longing. Looking at the two women's longing expressions, Yu couldn't help but shake his head slightly. In the past, the relationship between humans and Pokémon was roughly divided into two types. One is predation. Pokémon preyed on humans. So at that time, Pokémon was called Magic Beast, which means a beast with magic. Even Arceus and Giratina called themselves that. One is enslavement. Humans enslaved Pokémon. I don't know, when humans mastered something called magic, which can forcibly control and enslave Pokémon without any emotions. For example, a golden mask was unearthed in Johto. In ancient legends, it could command Pokémon. However, after studying expressions, the so-called command was forced manipulation and enslavement. There is nothing to look forward to in these two relationships. However, seeing the two women like this, Yu was embarrassed to tell the truth and expose this cruel fact. Instead, he asked Dr. Odajak's assistant, "Does Dr. Odajak also study how ancient humans commanded ancient Pokémon?" The doctor has only studied this aspect slightly. The doctor's main research direction is still the study of Pokémon's habitat. Different habitats have a great impact on the defense of Pokémon. It is believed that the study of habitats is of great significance to the large-scale cultivation of Pokémon, especially the protection of wild Pokémon. Dr. Odajak's assistant said. Yeah. Yu nodded, feeling a little disappointed. Ancient times were a very magical era. Although the relationship between humans and Pokémon was also very tense at that time, most nobles believed that Pokémon were like slaves and only needed enslavement, and were finally completely destroyed. But those magic props really interested Yu. Unlike the previous life, where magic and technology were completely opposite, the technology in this world was born out of magic, especially the Pokéball. The earliest Pokéball was an ancient magic prop. However, if Master Yu is interested, I can also tell you about some of the past legends of our continent. Assistant Dr. Rhoda said. Okay. Yu nodded. Anyway, he was free, and legends were not necessarily false. Wasn't super evolution also regarded as a legend in the Kalos region? It's not all in vain. According to research, in the ancient times of the Hone region, this continent was ruled by an empire called Alans. At that time, human magic reached a very powerful level. The emperors of the Alans Empire were not even satisfied with conquering ordinary Pokémon. They began to want to enslave the legendary Pokémon. The Legion was dispatched. They successively captured the three Pokémon, Regirock, Regius, and Regisquirrel, and established the Kingdom Guard. They tried to make all the Pokémon of the Kingdom Guard the three pillars, establish the Pillar Guard, and serve as the guardian of the royal tomb. Assistant Dr. Rhoda slowly narrated. Yu's eyes moved slightly. Establishing the Pillar Guards to protect the descendants of the imperial family for generations is really a big deal. Is this comparing the descendants to Regichicus? As for treating the three pillars as tomb guarding Pokémon, it is expected. After all, the three pillars now basically appear in ancient ruins, most of which are tombs. However, such success did not satisfy them. Instead, their ambitions expanded. In the end, they even set their sights on the legendary Pokémon, Groudon, Kyogre, and Rayquaza, but they were eventually destroyed. It is rumored that the landforms of the home continent are so scattered because the earth was broken in that war. However, there are also rumors that the Alans Empire actually succeeded. They created props to control Groudon and Kyogre, but it just attracted other dangers. There are many different opinions, and no one can confirm it. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. we cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 230, Regigikus's 18th brother. Ancient Pokémon are really full of magic. After Yu and the other two completed the registration at Dr. Adumaki's institute, they set out on the road of travel. Lily still couldn't forget what she heard in Dr. Adumaki's institute. Are you very interested? Then you should be very interested in Dr. Mithing, who we are going to visit next. Yu said. Drive Mithing? What kind of doctor is he? Is he also a Pokémon researcher? Lily asked curiously. He is a researcher of Pokémon mythology. Ancient Pokémon, except for a few living in some ancient ruins, are mostly just legends passed down by word of mouth, and then slowly become myths. Especially some super ancient Pokémon, their power is already very mythical. Yu said. Super ancient Pokémon, are they Groudon, Kyogre, and Rayquaza? Our main target is Rayquaza, right? Xiaoxu said. That's right, so I have to ask the senior for advice. Yu said, this is the professor who was found by following the path of Dr. Oak. Driver Damoki's assistant said that there is a legend that humans in the Alan's Empire created a tool to control Groudon and Kyogre, but there is no legend that there is a tool to control Rayquaza. Rayquaza should be the strongest Pokémon in Hone. Xiaoxu said. Xiaoxu, you are really smart. Yu was amazed, and then smiled. Legend has it that Groudon and Kyogre fought, the ocean and the land clashed, and humans were in danger. At the most critical moment, Rayquaza fell from the sky and persuaded the two Pokémon, and then the world was at peace. And the so-called persuasion is that Rayquaza beat up both Pokémon and persuaded them with physics, so it is called persuading people with reason. 1 against 2? Rayquaza is so powerful? Xiaoxu and Lilia were surprised. They always thought that the three super ancient Pokémon in Hone were about the same in strength. The Sky Dragon. Yu smiled and continued to move forward. The official statement of the strongest dragon is Kyurem in the Unova region, but judging from the performance, most people prefer Rayquaza. Yu and the other two went north on foot, planning to visit Dr. Mifeng's home first, and then follow the route set by the Alliance to challenge the Kanas gym in Kanas City. It took half a month to walk. Half a month later, everyone came to Weiyang Town where Dr. Mifeng lived. A small town with charming scenery, close to the forest, and simple folk customs. Finally, I saw someone. Lily showed a happy expression on her face. It would not take more than half a month to walk along the main road, but Yu looked at the map and thought there was a shortcut, and then there was Mutuo, so he started to take the shortcut. So, it took twice as long. If you hadn't stopped Mutuo from using teleportation, we would have come out a long time ago. Yu said. It's not good to have no outdoor experience. I didn't expect that this forest is so big that I got lost accidentally. If you rely on Mutuo to teleport to walk, what kind of travel is it? Wouldn't it be better to take a plane and challenge each gym? And those who lead the wrong way have no right to speak. Lily said with a puffed face. Yu turned his head away proudly, no longer entangled in this topic. With Mutuo here, what does it matter if you take the wrong road? Xiaoxu looked at the two people bickering, smiled slightly, turned on the Pokémon navigator and said, there is a Pokémon Center ahead. Let's go to the Pokémon Center and rest. Pokémon Center. Lily's eyes lit up. Although she had taken a shower in the wild for half a month, how could it compare to taking a hot shower in the Pokémon Center? The three of them completed their accommodation at the Pokémon Center, and then the two girls lined up to take a shower, and Yu could only go out and wait honestly. After all, the Pokémon Center has a tight supply of rooms, and generally 3 to 4 people live in one room. Like Xiaoxi, every time he goes out to travel, he sleeps in the same room together. Of course, Yuyu's family is well off, so it's actually not necessary. However, only a fool would want to change rooms to sleep. In the lobby of the Pokémon Center, I heard the trainers coming and going around chatting and exchanging information. I heard that there is a Weiyang ruins here, and there are mysteries that have passed through the past. Is it true or not? Are there any particularly powerful Pokémon in it? A red-haired girl asked curiously. What legendary secrets are there? They are just some broken stones. These are just stories to attract tourists. There is no Pokémon there. A teenager replied. Yes, I just went there yesterday. I wanted to see if there were any powerful Pokémon. But there were no Pokémon. It's just a scam. Another trainer said, very unhappy. Such a scam is a disaster. It's better to let the Super Iron Tyrannosaurus destroy them all tomorrow. A group of trainers talked at the same time, but they all had the same meaning. That is, the ruins are a lie. You are young and ignorant. You can't find good things, so you talk big. At this time, a voice suddenly sounded, which made a group of young trainers feel embarrassed. They looked over and saw an old man in red clothes walking out of the door of the Pokémon Center. Hey, what are you talking about? The young trainer who spoke earlier said dissatisfiedly. I said you are ignorant and don't know the legend of Weiyang ruins at all, said the old man. We are ignorant, so what do you know? The young trainer said dissatisfiedly. If he hadn't seen that he was an old man and couldn't afford to pay, he would have wanted to fight him. The old man didn't answer immediately, but snorted twice in a proud manner, and then said, children are ignorant and talk nonsense. It's obvious that they didn't study well. The Weiyang ruins is one of the possible tombs of the last emperor of the ancient Alan's empire, Ferine 17th. TSK, after talking for so long, it turns out to be a tomb, or one of the possible tombs. What's the use? Go down there to see ghosts? The trainer who spoke laughed. Yes, we are not tomb robbers. Why would we go into the tomb? The other trainers also laughed. There may be Regis in it. The old man said a few words with contempt. The smiles of the group of people disappeared immediately. A powerful and rare Pokémon is more precious than anything else to the trainers, especially the young trainers like them. A trainer looked at the old man solemnly and said, old man, you are not lying, are you? I, an old man, have walked more bridges than you have walked roads, and you still doubt me? Young people nowadays don't know anything about the past. The old man sat down proudly and said, do you know Regichicus? Yes. A group of people nodded quickly. Of course they knew about this. Regichicus, the king of pillars, is a powerful Pokémon that drags the earth's plates in legend. Regichicus has enough power to shake the entire earth, but it is kind-hearted and has more creative power, so it created companions to protect itself. The old man said, yes, the three pillars, Regis, Richalock, and Regischilu. Who doesn't know? The first young trainer said disapprovingly. Wrong. The old man's voice suddenly rose. His face was serious, and with a certain deterrent power. The young trainer was stunned, and then he said, not 3, but 18. 18. Yuyu's face changed. Where did the 18 come from? Does Regichicus have 18 followers? What about the other 15? Isn't it said that the 3 pairs of dots on Regichicus' eyes correspond to Richalock, Regius, and Regiskilu? Now there are 18. Where are the other 15 pairs of dots? Chapter 231 Dr. Mifeng. 18. Are you kidding? If there really are, why hasn't the Alliance announced them for so many years? The young man, who was frightened by the old man, quickly reacted and mocked the old man. The Alliance didn't announce the steel and evil attributes a few years ago. These attributes don't exist. In this world, a few people first discovered the truth and let the majority know. Just because you don't know, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. The old man said coldly. Then how can you prove it exists? The young man said with his neck stiff. At this age, it is the most youthful and frivolous time, and he can't stand being preached. This is the importance of research, so we have to open the Weiyang ruins. The old man didn't give in, and stared at the young man with a red face. But old man, you said so much, but you didn't explain what the Weiyang ruins have to do with Regius. Regichicus has 18 pillars. What does it have to do with the Weiyang ruins? A slightly familiar female voice sounded. Yuyu's expression changed slightly, and she looked at the door with a little disbelief. She shouldn't be here. Looking at the door, it was Sirona, who had not been seen for a long time. Miss Sirona. Although Sirona did not beat Yuyu and become the champion, her level of the top 8 and her beauty still made many people who watched the training of the Champions League remember her. Soon someone recognized her. Sirona smiled slightly in response, and then continued to look at the old man. Oh, little girl, do you believe me? Sure enough, you are smarter at first glance, so you have achieved more. The old man smiled. I don't believe it, but I don't deny it. Pokémon is full of too many unsolved mysteries and there are too many things we don't know. So my grandmother often told me that in the face of the unknown, we should be humble. Complacency will only delay ourselves. Sirona said. Well said, little girl, I like you. The old man laughed. Let me tell you about the Alan's Empire. This empire was once so powerful that even the legendary Pokémon trembled. They captured a large number of rare Pokémon, such as Latios, Sidolin, Celebi, etc., and conducted cruel research. We will not talk about these studies for now, but their research on Pokémon has surpassed us in many aspects, especially the legendary giant clan of Regius. Is it because these Pokémon were also created, so the people of the Alan's Empire tried to see if they could create them? You couldn't help but speak out. You are here too? When Sharona heard Yu speak, she realized that Yu was also here, and looked at Yu in surprise. Always. Yu smiled and looked at the old man. You kid, you look very smart. That's right, Regius and others were created by Regicicus, and they are very loyal to Regicica, so they tried to mass produce Pokémon such as Regius, form a legion, defend their empire for the first time, and guard the tomb. The old man said. Do you want to use this to intimidate the world of the dead? Yu shook his head and smiled. Did he think it was Qin Shi Huang? That's about it. In ancient feudal times, there were too many people buried alive with the dead. Regius and the others guarding the tombs were relatively good. The old man said. So, are the 18 pillars also your archaeological research? Yu said. That's right. The Alan's Empire pursued absolute power, ignored the feelings of Pokémon and civilians, and there were complaints. Especially by the time of Ferren 17th, the relationship between the royal family and the nobles deteriorated. By the end of the period, the internal contradictions of the empire were irreconcilable. In addition, after Ferren's death, a large number of treasures were buried with him. So in order to avoid being dug up after his death, he made 72 fake tombs for himself. The old man said. Yu raised his eyebrows. Are the thoughts of the emperors similar? They are all copies of Koko. But Koko was so cowardly because he robbed too many tombs. Is this Ferren 17 so cowardly? He was indeed very far-sighted. Soon after his death, his son could not suppress the separatist forces within the empire. In the end, the empire fell apart, and the royal family was destroyed. Of the 72 tombs he left behind, 68 were robbed. Fortunately, the real tombs were not discovered. However, although 71 of the 72 tombs were fake, there are still many precious materials in them. Although many of them have not been preserved after years of baptism, they are all extremely precious, said the old man. I see. Yu nodded, then looked at the old man and said, Old man, what is your relationship with Dr. Mifeng? In the place where Dr. Mifeng lived, there was such an old man who knew the myth of Pokémon. Yu always didn't believe that there was no relationship between the two. Even, Yu felt that this person was Dr. Mifeng. But there is always a chance. If it is not the case, wouldn't it be embarrassing? So be more tactful. Oh. Do you know me? That guy damn you said that there is a kid in Kyojin's family who wants to find me recently. It's you. Said the old man. Yes. Yu smiled and thought to himself, it was true. You are Dr. Mifeng. Sharona was surprised. Why? You are looking for me too? Mustard Orchid called me not long ago and said that her genius granddaughter is coming to home for a trip. Is it you? Dr. Mifeng said. Yes. Sharona nodded. It's fate that the two of you came together. Okay, I will give you a special lecture. Dr. Mifeng said. Sorry for the trouble. Yu and Sharona said in unison. After that, when Xiaoxu and Lilia came out, after taking a bath, there were 2 more students attending the lecture. Dr. Mifeng didn't mind. On the contrary, he was very happy. After all, when many people learn about knowledge, everyone hides it, and they are rare and valuable, and they will never pass it on to others. There are even many rules, such as passing it on to insiders but not outsiders, and passing it on to men but not women. However, when no one learns it, and it has little economic value, then what is more important is to spread it, and mythology belongs to the latter. In addition, Dr. Mifeng is open-minded. If someone wants to learn, He will teach them without reservation and tell them what he has learned from his research over the years. Yu, Sharona, Xiaoxu, Lily and even Mutuo were listening with great interest, not noticing the passage of time. Dr. Mifeng was also full of comfort and was about to talk all night when suddenly the room went dark. What happened? Is the power out? Lily was surprised. It was the first time she encountered such a thing. The Pokémon Center has a special power distribution system and it should be restored soon. Don't worry. Raichu, electric light, let out some light. Yu remained calm and released Raichu. Raichu used the electric light trick obediently, and the yellow light filled the surroundings again. Sharona and the others also looked at Dr. Mifeng attentively. The Pokémon Center can treat Pokémon, and it cannot be interrupted. Therefore, wherever there is a Pokémon Center, there will be a special power supply system. If it doesn't work, there are also electric Pokémon to supply power. Unless someone calls in, there is no need to worry at all. Okay, now I'll tell you about the hobbies of the legendary Pokémon Groudon. Seeing Yu and other students studying so seriously, Dr. Mifeng, as a teacher, was also full of energy and ready to do a great job. However, before he could finish his words, the door was suddenly kicked open. A group of unknown people in red uniforms broke in. Chapter 232, Fire Rock Team. Who are you? What do you want to do? Dr. Mifeng looked at the unknown person who broke into the room with displeasure. Drive Mifeng, don't worry. We have no ill will towards you. We just want to ask for your help. The leader laughed. You are not asking for help. I refuse. Dr. Mifeng said coldly. Refuse? Sorry, you don't have the right to refuse. Otherwise everyone in this Pokémon Center will die. The leader smiled slightly, as if talking about something insignificant. Looking at Yu and others with the attitude of a winner, he said, don't try to resist. I know you are all trainers, but you have been completely surrounded by us. We have no intention of hurting you, but if you insist on resisting, then I will have to kill a few people and let Dr. Mifeng cooperate. Don't even think about it. Dr. Mifeng was furious and scolded. The leader laughed a standard villain laugh, full of pride and evil, and didn't take Dr. Mifeng's words to heart at all. Only Yu had a very strange expression. He turned his head to look at Mutuo who was already a little angry, then looked at Sharona who was holding the land shark Pokeball, and finally looked at himself and Jenga next to him. Who gave them the confidence to say this? Somehow, a picture suddenly appeared in Yu's mind. A group of huskies broke into the wolf pack and shouted to the wolf pack, you are surrounded, raise your hands, and don't resist. Puff Yu couldn't help but laughed out loud. Boy, what are you laughing at? Do you think we dare not hurt you? Yu's laughter made the leader very angry. The Pokeball released several ferocious wolfhounds, which lined up in a row, ferocious and terrifying. Yu's expression changed slightly, and the ghost power in his hand surged, turning into a circle of light and rippling outward. The big wolfhound was instantly overturned and fell to the ground seriously injured. The group of people who broke in fell even more ugly and could hardly get up. Go out and deal with the group of guys outside. Yu looked at Jenga and said. Jenga showed a sharp evil smile on his face, turned into a black shadow, and floated outside. There are new toys. Who are you? How can you have such a strong power? The leader struggled to get up and looked at Yu in disbelief. This is not the key. The key is that I have the final say here, Yu said. The elves of this group of people are quite strong. They are all high-level elites. They cooperate with each other and rush forward. The Qua-seeking Pokémon are not easy to resist. They have some capital to do evil. After all, Pokémon with Qua-seeking strength are rare, but when they meet this group of people, they think too much. What do you want to say? We are breaking the law, but none of you died. At most, you can send us to Miss Junsha. At most, we will pay the money. The leader said fearlessly. Obviously, they are not afraid of entering the police station. Send them to Miss Junsha, and then wait for Kai Yan-san to bail you out, and then you can come out and continue to do evil? Yu sneered. This group of people broke into the house and committed crimes. Their behavior was bad, but they failed to commit crimes. If they were sent to the police station, they would not be detained for too long. If there were big shots willing to spend money to get connections, they would be bailed out soon. How do you know Lord Kai Yan-san? The the leader said in shock. You are talking nonsense. You are all wearing the standard uniform of the Fire Rock team. I can't recognize you. Do you think I'm blind? Yu said with disdain. A group of people came out to do evil, and they were dressed in such a uniform, without any disguise. It would be difficult for me not to recognize them. Fire Rock team? Sharona's eyes moved slightly. She had never heard of it, but seeing Yu's look like a child knew it. She wisely stuffed her doubts into her stomach. Okay, I won't waste my time on you. Now I'll give you two options, public or private. Public, I'll take you to the deepest men's prison in your alliance. All the people in there are extremely vicious. You go in one by one. You'll either be beaten to death in there, or watch the sunflowers bloom behind the iron bars. Yu said. What did you say? How is it possible? How can we go in there? The leader tried to be calm, but he couldn't hide the panic in his eyes. It was either death or a life worse than death. Don't worry about this. I'll find a way to send you in. Believe me, I can do it. After all, you were supposed to be locked up anyway. It's just that some accidental mistakes made you locked up in the wrong place. This is also very reasonable. Of course, your boss will still bail you out. I won't interfere with this. But, can you make it to that day? Or a month of sunflowers? Yu smiled, but it made the people of the Magna team shudder. What on earth are you going to do? The leader stretched out his legs and trembled slightly. It's unfair, but it's okay. Let's settle it privately. You came to ask Dr. Mi Feng for help? What do you want to study? Explain it clearly word by word. Think it through. Yu said. Study the Weiyang ruins. The leader of the Fire Rock team bowed his head in despair. Weiyang ruins? Dr. Mi Feng, you just said that the Weiyang ruins have not been explained clearly. I would like to ask, what stage has the research on the Weiyang ruins reached? Yu looked at Dr. Mi Feng curiously and said, the outside has been completely studied. It's all superficial information, and there are no Pokémon, so there are just some children's statements. But according to my research, the Weiyang ruins should be divided into inside and outside, and there is another layer inside, but it needs something to open it. Dr. Mi Feng said. Oh, that's fine. You can take out all the things. Yu looked at the people of the Fire Rock team and said. What are they? The leader of the Fire Rock team said with a confused look on his face. Still pretending? Things to open the mechanism. Yu said. We just want to ask Dr. Mi Feng for help. We don't have anything. We had placed our hopes on Dr. Mi Feng, but we didn't expect that Dr. Mi Feng couldn't help either. The leader of the Magna team said with a frustrated look. Oh, that's useless, right? Well, life behind bars is waiting for you. Yu said casually. Whoa, get ready. Wait. Hearing Yu's words, several people's faces suddenly changed. The leader of the Magna team trembled and took out 3 stones of different colors from his arms. Giant stone. Are these things really in your hands? Dr. Mi Feng said in shock. Although he didn't have the key to unlock the Weiyang ruins, he knew exactly what could unlock the Weiyang ruins. Sure enough, compared to Dr. Mi Feng's shock, Yu was much more casual. The villains are more efficient than the decent ones. This is almost an iron rule in most stories. Especially in the Pokémon world. Not only Miss Junsha, the police officer, came last, but the rest of the Alliance members also came last. Basically, the Alliance came only after this group of villains finished their work or killed themselves. Okay, Mutwo, let them all sleep. Then, Xiaoxu, call the police, and have them take us away. Yu said. Wait, we are going to settle this privately. Didn't you say you'd let us go if we get the stuff? Why are you so untrustworthy? The people from the Magna team shouted. Did I say that? You've broken the law, so go to the police station and accept justice. After Yu finished speaking, Mutwo's eyes turned blue, and his magical powers burst out, knocking a group of people unconscious. Chapter 233 Weiyang Ruins. Yu, this. Dr. Mi Feng looked at the giant stone in Yu's hand with expectation, but because of his status as an elder, he was embarrassed to ask for it. Doctor, take it if you need it. If you want to study it, take me with you. Yu smiled and handed the thing to Dr. Mi Feng. Without Dr. Mi Feng, it would be useless for him to hold it in his hand. Of course there is no problem with this. Dr. Mi Feng took the giant stone from Yu Yu's hand, as if he had found a treasure, his eyes shining, and the treasure he had been looking forward to was finally in his hand. What are these giant stones? And what organization is the Magma Team? Sharona asked curiously. The giant stone is the key to open it. Its composition is mysterious. It is said that it was the core of the Alan's empire to create Regius and others. As for the Magma Team, I don't know. At this point, Dr. Mi Feng looked at Yu Yu curiously. Don't you know? Yu Yu asked curiously. Yes, Yu Yu, why do you know? Lilia Ranzaiaxu also asked curiously. Isn't it the first time for everyone to come to the Hone area? Is that so? Yu Yu looked at everyone's puzzled expressions and became even more puzzled. After thinking for a while, he finally figured it out. He was standing in the perspective of God. Although the Magma Team and its mortal enemy, the Aqua Fleet, are the largest underground organizations in the Hone region, they are different from the Rocket Team. The Rocket Team will do anything that can benefit them, such as destroying the Pokémon Center, robbing the precious Pokémon of traveling trainers, defrauding local trainers, and other things. It is notorious. Many trainers will encounter some minions when traveling, and they can understand them, if they understand them carefully. But the Magma Team is different from the Aqua Fleet. They have no idea of overthrowing the Alliance, nor do they have any illegal profiteering industry chain. Their ideal goals are also quite strange. One wants to find Groudon and use Groudon's power to continuously create the Earth, and the other wants to find Kyogre and use Kyogre's power to continuously expand the ocean area. It can be understood as fanatical idealists. Therefore, they basically search for traces of Groudon and Kyogre between the mountains and thousands of feet under the sea. There will be no intersection with most trainers. There are only times when, for the needs of research, there will be kidnapping threats like now, but it is far from being known to everyone. Dr. Mi Feng, who is immersed in research, and Sharona and the other two who are not from Hone, naturally don't know. No wonder the people from the Magma Team were so surprised when they saw me mention the red flame pine. Yu Yu suddenly realized and did not hide anything, telling what he knew. They want to capture the super ancient Pokémon, Groudon and Kyogre. Are they crazy? Dr. Mi Feng was shocked. As the first person in the study of Hone mythology, no one knows better than him how powerful these super ancient Pokémon are. If Groudon and Kyogre get angry, the Hone continent will be in danger of sinking. On the contrary, after Sharona heard their goal, her eyes showed an eager look. Super ancient Pokémon, Groudon, Kyogre, how powerful will they be? Does ancient mean powerful? There is often only a fine line between genius and madness. Kai Yansang of the Magma Team and Shu Wutang of the Aqua Fleet are all madmen, but they are terrifying madmen. Yu Yu said, you can't live without being crazy. Others are crazy, they are crazy. But Kai Yansang and Shu Wutang are crazy. And the two guys are not unprepared. They have all found the orbs that can control Groudon and Kyogre. If they really work together, the powerful force can really change the world. And, to be honest, which of the leaders of these underground organizations is not a dragon and phoenix among men in terms of brains and strength? It's just that each of their brain circuits is a little biased. Terrible madmen. Then I'll take a closer look later. Sharona's clear eyes shone with a different look. Looking for the origin of super evolution, you can't avoid super ancient Pokémon, and the Magma Team and the Aqua Fleet are both searching for super ancient Pokémon, so there will inevitably be conflicts. Yu Yu looked at Sharona strangely. In fact, he was very curious about why Sharona came here. He remembered that Sharona had already fought the Hone Alliance. If she fought again, the Alliance would not let her. In this case, we must first solve these mysteries. Let's go to the Weiang ruins now. Dr. Mi Feng said. The mystery that had lasted for many years was about to be solved. He was already impatient. Now there was an evil underground organization, which made him even more impatient. Okay, Mutuo, please stay to protect Lily and Xiaoxu, and take care of these people, Yu Yu said. Mutuo said nothing, but did not object, which meant he agreed. Yu Yu, I want to go too. Lily said. No, you need to stay here and tell Miss Junsha, you call the police. Yu Yu said, the Weiang ruins, it was so magical, it must be not simple. Even in Yu Yu's previous life, in the world without Pokémon, going to the tomb was a very risky thing. What's more, in this world, there are creatures like Pokémon. Compared with the tombs in Grave Robbers Chronicles and Ghost Blows Out the Light, it is not necessarily much safer. It is better for Xiaoxu and Lily not to go in. It is best to let Muto protect them. As for Yu himself, there is no need to worry. As long as there is a mirror, he can escape into the reverse world. And he and Sharona are together. Generally speaking, there will be no danger. Okay. Seeing Yu's determination, Lily did not dare to refute, and said with a flat mouth, "After our initial exploration, we will let you and Xiaoxu go in." Yu said with a smile, and signaled Xiaoxu with his eyes, to keep an eye on Lily. Xiaoxu's eyes moved slightly, indicating that he received it. Dr. Mifeng, Sharona, and Yu headed towards the Weiyang ruins outside. It was not the first time that Dr. Mifeng came to the Weiyang ruins, and it was the first time for Yu and Sharona. They couldn't help but be curious, especially Yu, who was full of expectations for the ancient emperor's tomb. However, after arriving at the ruins, the scene in front of him disappointed him greatly. There were broken walls and ruined bricks and tiles. Yu finally understood why those trainers in the Pokémon Center had been so disparaging about this place. Because this place is really too bad. It is really a dead end. Don't be disappointed. Wait a minute and you will understand the great wisdom of the ancients. Dr. Mifeng said solemnly, and then walked straight to the depths of the ruins. Yu showed a curious expression. He really wanted to know what would happen. At first, he thought that the Weiyang ruins contained mysteries, but the entrance door was locked, and there was no key to open the door. But after really coming here, he found that he seemed to have thought wrong. Because the Weiyang ruins were all opened, or empty. There was no door at all, so how could the key be opened? Under Yu's curious eyes, Dr. Mifeng walked straight to a wall, then squatted down, put down the 3 stones in his hand, and then took out 2 stones of different colors from his pocket, and arranged them into a strange pattern. Then, a strong light burst out from the center of the 5 stones and shot directly at the wall. The picture on the wall rippled like water waves. Yu's expression immediately became rich. Wow, what kind of black technology did these ancient people use? Before he could figure it out, a dark thing that looked like a question mark suddenly fell out, followed by a strong suction force. Dr. Mifeng, Yu, Sharona, and Jenga were sucked in before they could react. Chapter 234 Unknown Totem. Ouch, a strong suction force suddenly erupted. Even though Yu possessed extraordinary power, he still had no time to resist, and was sucked in with Jenga. After a while of spinning, Yu fell heavily to the ground, almost breaking his butt into 8 pieces. So does he. Jenga also had a headache, and floated in Yu's arms in a daze. After a while, the man and the ghost woke up, looked around, showed an amazed expression, and their mouths were wide open in surprise. There was no trace of the broken walls and ruins just now. Everything was renovated. The space was huge, as if they had arrived in a new world. We traveled through time. Jenga looked around for a long time, full of surprise. Traveled through time? What the hell? Have you read too many novels? After you get out, read less novels. We were sucked in. Yu complained, stood up, and looked at the wide space around him. It was indeed a different world. Dr. Mifeng was right. Sucked in? What happened? Old Mifeng, what's going on? Jenga wanted to find out what was going on, but found that Dr. Mifeng was not around, so he shouted, Yu, it's bad. Old Mifeng and Sharona are gone. It should be that something unexpected happened when we came in. This thing is even weirder than we thought. Fortunately, we are together. I hope Sharona and Dr. Mifeng are together. Yu said. Then what happened? The thing that just fell out is an unknown totem, right? Isn't it said that the unknown totem has poor combat power? How can it be so special? Jenga was surprised. It was also a bookish Jenga. The unknown totem had low combat ability and could not evolve. It could only learn one trick, awakening power. It was a rookie Pokémon. You only read the battle description and didn't read anything else. Yu said. Isn't it enough to read the battle description? I only fight with them, not fall in love with them. Why should I know anything else about them? Jenga said confidently. Unknown totems have a mysterious origin, just like their names, and their places of residence are unknown. Legend has it that they are in a world unknown to humans, because they usually appear on the walls of various ruins, and the 28 forms are like human characters. They are called unknown totems. Individually, they are indeed like you, with low combat capabilities, but if there are more than 2, there will be wonderful changes. And if there are more than 10, they can do very scary things, just like where we are now, which should be the masterpiece of unknown totems. Yu said. In the theater version, Dr. Xiu Li's daughter found a box of unknown totems left by her father, and then the unknown totem sensed the girl's heart, crystallized the entire green grassland alive, and also created a Yandi. So, is it very powerful? Zhengji Yui said. Take out the mirror. Yu did not answer, but made other requests. Zhengji Yui cooperated, and put out the huge mirror, and then Yu put one hand into the mirror, sensed the reversed world, and then said, I don't know, anyway, we will be fine. Yeah. Zhengji Yui also nodded solemnly. Safe, that's good. Okay, let's find Serona and Dr. Mifeng first, and see if there's anything else here. If there's Regius, that would be the best. I'm still short of an ice-type Pokémon. Yu said. Although Mewtwo is close to a first level god and Jenga is a new third level god, Mewtwo obviously can't be completely considered his Pokémon, and Jenga is a later one, so Yu still doesn't have a divine beast, which is simply a loss of face for a time traveler. A first level god doesn't dare to think about it. The 3 sacred beasts, who are protected by the boss, don't dare to move. But the 3 pillars, Latius, and Sidolin can all be tried. Jenga nodded, and behaved very well. One person and one ghost moved forward, and before they had gone far, Yu suddenly stepped into the air, and the sound of the bowstring breaking rang out. In an instant, countless cold arrows suddenly shot out from the walls on both sides. Yu and Jenga's mind merged, and the ghost energy surged. A black mist enveloped the whole body. The cold arrows flying rapidly in the air entered the range of the black mist and stopped one after another, as if time had stopped. Looking at the arrow that was so close that it was about to hit his face, Yu took a heavy breath. He was almost a ghost. Thousands of years had passed since the construction of this mausoleum, and these mechanisms were still not scrapped. Be careful, otherwise, you stay in the reverse world first, and I'll go outside? Zhengji Yui suggested. He was also shocked just now. Although Yu is now very powerful, he is still a human in essence. If an arrow pierced his heart just now, Yu would still die. No, I'll let you find it. There are many things, I'm worried, and if you are trapped, won't it be worse for me? Pull my soul out. Yu said. Zhengji Yui understood, and grabbed Yu's body with both hands, directly passed through Yu's body, and then pulled Yu's soul out. Yu's body fell straight down, and Yu's soul grabbed the body with one hand, controlled the body, and then asked Zhengji Yui to take out the mirror, and Yu threw his body into the reverse world again. Okay, it's safe, let's go. Yu said. In the soul state, the power is stronger than its real form, and it is immune to most physical damage. Like the cold arrows just now, it is completely ignored. Of course, Yu is not naive to think that the people of the Alan's Empire will not think of such a way. There must be some response, but this is always safer. On the way, although there are often traps, Yu and Zhengji Yui, who are completely ghosts, cooperate and run rampant all the way. These physical attacks, Yu is completely immune. Until the end of a road, the stone door opened, and with a roar, a ferocious Bangjira suddenly rushed out, roaring. Purple-black energy waves flashing in its mouth, and an evil wave attacked strongly. Yu and Zhengji Yui's faces changed, and they quickly dodged, and then each of them hit Bangjira with a shadow ball. The energy exploded, and Bangjira fell heavily to the ground. My goodness, Bangjira? Didn't old man Mifeng say that this relic was thousands of years old? How can there be a living Bangjira? Bangjira's lifespan is not thousands of years, they are not me. Zhengji Yui said in surprise. Don't ask me this question, I can't answer it. What the hell? There are still living Pokémon? Yu was full of shock. After thinking for a while, he reached into Jenga's body, took out a Pokéball, and then threw it at Bangjira. However, after a flash of red light, Bangjira was not collected in the Pokéball. Instead, the Pokéball bounced back into Yu's hand. It can't be captured, which means it has really lived for a long time. How much black technology did ancient society have? Yu said. No, wasn't the Pokeball invented in modern times? It doesn't mean anything if you can't capture it, Jenga said. The Pokeball was invented in modern times, but the predecessor of the Pokeball can be traced back a long time. It was originally a sealed item. Even for ancient Pokémon, it can be used to test them, Yu said. Jenga nodded. Although it didn't understand very much, since Yu said it, it had to pretend to understand, even if it didn't understand. Otherwise, it would be very embarrassing. And it doesn't matter whether it understands or not. Yu understands, and it understands the same thing as it does. The man and the ghost returned the same way, and then went in another direction. When they reached the corner, a fierce dragon claw suddenly hit them. Chapter 235 Yu, because I'm a ghost. Power surged from Yu and Jenga, and at the same time, a huge shadow ball burst out and attacked forward. With a roar, Yu and Jenga retreated at the same time, their expression solemn. This time, the opponent's attack was stronger than any other time, and it was not a simple opponent. Bite, a doubtful cry sounded in the high tension, and then a Garchomp came out and looked at Yu and Jenga. Yu was relieved immediately. Jenga put his hands on his hips and shouted in dissatisfaction, "What? It turned out to be you. Do you know that it is wrong to attack people casually?" Garchomp glanced at Jenga arrogantly, said nothing, turned around coolly, stood aside like a knight, and made way. Yu looked expectantly, and indeed saw Sharona walk out calmly, with a look of joy on her face. But when her eyes turned to Sharona, she did not see Dr. Mifeng, and her mood suddenly became low. "Drive Mifeng, he is not with you." "No, I didn't see Dr. Mifeng after I came in, and I thought Dr. Mifeng was with you," Sharona said. "Oh." Yu nodded with a little disappointment. "Is there such a big difference between meeting me and meeting Dr. Mifeng?" Originally, Sharona was somewhat happy to reunite with Yu. After all, it is good to meet an acquaintance during such an expedition, but Yu's completely different attitude before and after made her very jealous. She was actually despised. "Yes." Yu nodded affirmatively. "You are Sharona. You have Landshark, Togekiss, and Lucario, so even if it is very dangerous here, I believe you can definitely survive, but Dr. Mifeng may not. Moreover, Dr. Mifeng knows a lot about this place, but you don't. Although Dr. Mifeng is not as fragrant as you, Regiace is much more fragrant than you. We already have Pokémon. What else do I need for beauties?" Hearing Yu's words, Sharona, who was originally a little jealous, suddenly felt ashamed. Her face blushed, and she said, "I was also looking for Dr. Mifeng, but I didn't find him. After I came in, I was alone, but fortunately I had Pokémon to accompany me. Did you find any clues about this ruins along the way?" Yu nodded, and began to exchange information. "No, I just encountered some traps and some Pokémon. And these Pokémon, without exception, are all extremely aggressive and cannot communicate. Just like just now, I encountered a violent salamander, and the Landshark knocked it out several times. After it woke up, its first reaction was to attack. It had no intention of communicating with us at all, as if it had no mind," Sharona said. "No mind? Is this the side effect of surviving for so many years?" Yu said. "Maybe. After all, there is life and death. Things will perish from the beginning of existence. Eternal life is just an unrealistic fantasy," Sharona said. Yu and Sharona walked and talked, changed direction, and continued to look for Dr. Mifeng and explore the ruins. Bang, as he spoke, the rock that the Libite Landshark, who had been walking in front, stepped on loosened and fell down. The well-trained Libite Landshark immediately reacted, merged his wings, and took off into the air. Suddenly, a huge black hole with a bottomless depth appeared where he was standing. Libite Landshark was relieved, and was about to fly back and take Sharona with him, but before he could act, a strong attraction suddenly came from the black hole, and his limbs felt unprecedentedly heavy, and the wallpaper fell down. Libite Landshark, Sharona exclaimed, and hurriedly walked to the edge of the giant hole, but just as she approached the edge, a strong force field also enveloped her, and her body and limbs seemed to be filled with lead, extremely heavy, and about to fall. Fortunately, Yu reacted quickly, grabbed with his right hand, and the energy was activated, grabbing Sharona. But just as he grabbed and pulled back, he felt abnormally heavy, as if he was not pulling Sharona, but a Snorlax. Yu gritted his teeth and pulled hard, barely pulling Sharona out. Once she was out of range, she felt much more relaxed. Don't go over there. There's something wrong with the gravity there. Yu's expression was solemn. He could not make Garchomp fly, and suddenly made Sharona as heavy as Snorlax. There was only one possibility, the gravity there was changed. So Garchomp's original power could not continue to fly. Sharona's mass did not change, but the weight increased. Thank you. Sharona thanked Yu. The main Pokémon suddenly had an accident. Even she couldn't help but lose her sense of proportion. Moreover, the gravity was so strange that she fell directly when she got close to it. It's a small matter. Let's see how Garchomp is doing first, Yu said. Garchomp, are you okay? Sharona nodded and shouted to the cave from a distance. Bite. Garchomp's low voice came from the cave, just like before, without any change. This trap was designed very cleverly. Even Garchomp couldn't avoid the sudden increase in gravity and fell straight down. At the same time, there were steel cones all below. It was difficult for ordinary Pokémon, even the king, to survive. But Garchomp always showed the style of a champion at the critical moment. When it fell, it made an ultimate impact, venting terrifying energy and smashing a piece of open space in the GD. Although it couldn't get up temporarily and was slightly injured, it couldn't die. After getting Garchomp's affirmation, Sharona was completely relieved and regained her calmness. It's a gravity trick. The people of the Alan's Empire used magic to simulate the tricks of Pokémon. It's really a monster. The gravity trick can double the gravity on the field, and all flying Pokémon can't fly and fall to the ground. It is called the nemesis of flying Pokémon. It should be like this, but there may be other changes, Yu said. In theory, it should be like this, and it is easier to solve. Gravity space, although it changes gravity, seems to be related to the ground. In the early Western magic novels, it is also an earth magic, but in the Pokémon world, it is a psychic trick. And unlike the game setting, in reality, there is no space that cannot be destroyed. Absol and Jenga can destroy it quickly, but you dare not assert what ancient magic is like. Who knows if something like the gravity training room in Dragon Ball has been developed. Whether it is or not, you will know after trying it. No matter what, it should be able to be broken in the face of power. And if it is a gravity space, it should be enough to directly split the space. Sharona took out the necklace from her collar. In the center of the necklace, a gem shone with colorful brilliance. Yu's eyes changed slightly. He just noticed that there was an extra super evolution stone on the forehead of the Libite land shark. As expected, he found it. Respond to my heart, Super Garchomp. Sharona's necklace flashed, and colorful light was injected into the Garchomp in the cave. The light shone, and then an extremely strong energy storm came from the cave. The dazzling light burst out, and with a bang, the entire ruin seemed to be shaking. Yu and Jenga saw a pink energy burst around them, and then Garchomp flew out of the cave quickly. However, compared with its original appearance, the super evolved form was more domineering, and its arms almost completely turned into sickles. Its eyes were domineering. Jenga, who was always very naughty, didn't dare to look at it at this time. Bite, there is something below. Garchomp shouted to Yu and others. Is there a road below? Yu walked over curiously, lowered his head to look at the cave, and found that there was actually a small path at the bottom of the cave. He showed a strange expression. What the hell is this? Is there a passage behind the trap? Is it a game of passing levels? You can understand Garchomp's words? Sharona looked at Yu strangely. I didn't understand it before, but now I can. Yu said. Can I do it now? Sharona looked at Yu strangely, and suddenly noticed Yu's feet hanging in the air, and asked, why are you floating? Because I'm a ghost now. Yu's mouth corners suddenly curled up, revealing an evil smile, and rushed straight towards Sharona, their bodies passing through each other. Sharona's body stiffened instantly. Chapter 236 Unknown Pokémon. Pull your body out. Sharona, who has always been calm and generous, and is still recognized as a master by the Sinnoh audience, even though she was eliminated in the semi-finals of the Champions League, failed twice today. Once, it was to Garcomp, the friend with whom she had the deepest feelings, and the partner who grew up together. Once, it was the female instinct, in a tomb, and the partner was a ghost. Even if Sharona was a Pokémon master, she would be scared. However, after being scared, the gap between Sharona and ordinary little girls was still reflected. She quickly realized that Yu was playing a trick on her. Pull it out for you to beat. Do you think I'm stupid? If you want to beat me, you can beat me with this body. Yu laughed. Sharona glared at Yu with her beautiful eyes, and her chest heaved with anger. She didn't know how many years she hadn't felt this kind of strong resentment. The only thing she remembered was that when she was a child, a cousin of hers stole her ice cream. She did this. After they had finished laughing, Yu said, "Next, let's go down and take a look." Go down. This is not a level breaking game. After you pass a difficult level, there will be a reward waiting for you. This is one of the tombs of Ferian 17th. This mechanism is prepared for the enemy, and this road will definitely not lead to a good place, Sharona said. Although she is neither an archaeologist nor a tomb robber, as a mythologist, she has a deep understanding of various ruins. That's right. Yu nodded. He was actually very interested, especially the use of gravity. If magic can create gravity, then there is no reason why modern technology cannot. It is easiest to cultivate Pokémon to learn this trick, and even if you don't know how to do it, you can wear it as a weapon on the Pokémon. It can't be used in competitions, but it can be used in the wild. More importantly, his situation is special, and he has a way out, so he is not panicking. But Sharona is still a person, and Yu can't take her with him, so he has to give up for the time being. He will study it again, when he has a chance in the future. After packing up, the two walked forward together, and continued to explore the ruins. Walking in the ruins, they encountered many traps along the way, but with the strength of the two, they were able to get through them without any danger. Until they came to a stone gate, and found Dr. Mifeng lying there. Yu immediately floated over, and saw Dr. Mifeng's hair standing up, his skin burnt black, especially his hands. He looked up at the stone gate and said, "There are special irons on the stone gate." Dr. Mifeng should have been knocked unconscious by the strong current. "Can you see the current?" Sharona said. "In this state, you can see some things that you can't see in the original state. If you have time, I'll take you to try." Yu said. "Try again when you have time, but the most urgent thing now is Dr. Mifeng, who needs to be sent to the hospital urgently, but we can't get out now." Sharona said. "There is a way. Let's stop the research for now." Yu said. "The reverse world, the eternal bug." As he spoke, Yu looked at Jenga. Jenga understood and planned to take out the mirror, but before he took it out, Dr. Mifeng on the ground suddenly groaned. "Drive Mifeng, are you awake?" Sharona said in surprise. Dr. Mifeng struggled to get up, but before he could get up, he fell down again. "Drive Mifeng, you are in a very bad condition now. I will send you to the hospital first," Yu said. Although he is now considered a non-human, his superpowers can only destroy, not save people. "No need, I found it. This mausoleum is just as I guessed. It is not the real mausoleum of Ferian 17th, but there is really a Pokémon like Regius in it, an electric type Pokémon, that has not been discovered yet." Although he was seriously injured, Dr. Mifeng did not look weak at all. He stared at the stone door and said excitedly, "Electric type." Yu raised his eyebrows, and looked at Sharona. "Let me do it. The electric type ones, then leave them to Garcomp," Sharona said. Yu nodded. Although there is no such thing as immunity, as long as the strength is strong enough, there is nothing that cannot be broken. But with Sharona's Garcomp, a champion level power, and super evolution, except for Arceus and Zekrom, who might be able to defeat Garcomp with electric current, Yu didn't think it was possible for the others to defeat Garcomp with electric current. After thinking about it, Yu hugged Dr. Mifeng, stepped back consciously, and then took out the mobile phone from Jenga's body to record a video. Yu, Sharona, and Dr. Mifeng discovered the new mythical beast together. Dr. Mifeng was negligible, and Yu and Sharona had to fight for it. Yu was not completely sure that he would get it, but the information of the new mythical beast, if taken down, was also valuable. It could be exchanged for a lot of good things from the scholars. Gargoyle, let's surpass the limit together. The evolution keystone on Sharona's neck shone, and the light was injected into Garchomp's body. Garchomp completed its super evolution, and then the huge red sickle arm slashed violently at the stone gate. Above the stone gate, a powerful and terrifying electric current suddenly erupted. The originally dim ruins suddenly became as bright as day. The electric current was violent. Yu protected Dr. Mifeng tightly behind him, just in case. Boom, the violent electric current hit Garchomp, who pretended not to know, and suddenly chopped down. The dragon power burst out, and the entire stone gate exploded. Then a strong electric light surged. Sharona and Dr. Mifeng were temporarily blinded under this strong light. Only Yu could see the situation inside clearly, because he had no body. In the light, a yellow Pokémon with a pair of huge wings, similar to Togekiss, but the main body parts of its body were like the three pillars, flew out and turned into electric light to attack Garchomp. Garchomp's eyes were much more tolerant than Sharona's. Although it was a little uncomfortable, it was not temporarily blinded. On the contrary, it was furious, because the Pokémon hurt Sharona. With a roar, the sound waves rolled, and the purple energy wave turned into a giant dragon, and rushed towards the Pokémon head-on. The electric current and the dragon wave exploded together, and the energy wave exploded outward. Garchomp was shocked and retreated. The unknown Pokémon in the electric light seemed to be furious, because someone in the house was blocking it. The electric current around it was violent, and it attacked Garchomp and Yu and his group. Yu's face changed suddenly, and he protected Sharona behind him. This lightning strike was more violent than the thunder of the lightning bird in the 10 million volts of Pikachu. Garchomp relied on the ground attribute, and rushed directly towards the unknown Pokémon. The energy of his whole body was condensed, and the ultimate impact was launched like a missile. The two collided, and powerful energy attacked all around, causing the entire ruins to shake violently. The unknown Pokémon turned into a flash of lightning, flew into the sky, and disappeared into the horizon. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 237, The First Awakened Ruin Pokémon. Is this the end? Yu looked up at the broken roof. There was the sky outside, which meant he could leave. So, as long as he opened the top, he could leave. I thought it was underground like the tomb in the novel. I didn't expect that. Even though I used the unknown totem to hide the address, it ended so hastily. The harvest was rare. I didn't catch any Pokémon. The speed of the Pokémon just now almost exceeded the limit speed of Dragonite, and Yu and his friends couldn't catch up at all. It was really unexpected that Regius, Regirock, Regiskilo and Regichicus were slower than each other, but this Pokémon, which was also a giant, was so fast. It didn't look like a giant at all. What's going on outside? At this moment, Sharona completely lost her eyesight and fell into absolute nothingness. The whole world was without light, not even darkness, and she panicked instinctively. But the result of losing her eyesight and moving suddenly was to fall down. Yu immediately reached out to support her and whispered, "Be careful, why can't you walk?" As he spoke, Yu noticed Sharona's blank eyes and said, "Are you blind?" It should be that I was temporarily blinded by the strong light just now. Sharona closed her eyes and said, not panicking at all. Such strong light exposure will not completely blind her, and with modern technology, she can basically recover. Close your eyes, and have a good rest first. This is open. Leave the next thing to me. Go to the hospital, and have a good checkup. Yu said. Well, what's going on outside? Have you seen any special Pokémon? Sharona said. What time is it? Are you still concerned about Pokémon? You are really stupid. Yu shook his head and smiled. Yes, there is a special Pokémon, an electric type, with great power. If your Garchomp is not a ground type, it may not be its opponent. Electric type? That's not named. Sharona said. That's right. You hold Garchomp first. I'll go in and take a look. Yu handed Sharona to Garchomp and then walked into the stone door. Looking at the surrounding layout, especially some ancient devices opposite, Yu walked over to observe carefully, and then looked outside the door. Yu didn't know the information of this electric Pokémon. But Yu knew the information of the 3 Pokémon, Regirock, Regius, and Regiskilu. The 3 Pokémon, known as the Eternal Pokémon, have a pure body. Before being discovered by humans, they lived in ancient tombs, and were in a sleeping state. Everything is unknown. After being awakened by humans, there is a 50% chance of confusion, a 14% chance of getting close to the human who woke it up, and a 14% chance of attacking the human who woke it up. And because of sleeping for too long, these Pokémon are often not at their peak, when they just wake up, and they need some time to recover. But this electric Pokémon is different. It is completely violent, not violent when awakened by people, but like crazy. And the power is also a bit outrageous. Yu's expression was subtle. Suddenly, he saw a few small stones under the device. His eyes moved slightly, and he took the things away, and put them in his pocket. What are you putting in there? Interesting things? Jenga floated over and said. I don't know yet. Let's go back and study it. Mewtwo is a professional in this area. Yu said. It must be said that Mewtwo is really versatile. In other words, psychic Pokémon are like cheats. Alakazam has an IQ of 5000, and Metagross has a computing power that is more terrifying than a supercomputer. Mewtwo can think about philosophy and has a top IQ. He developed the Mewtwo Ball, which can even swallow Pokémon balls, upgraded the cloning system of Team Rocket, and can copy and clone the original Pokémon with a hair. If Mewtwo is allowed to study it, it is estimated that more comprehensive things can be studied. But what are these? Jenga said. I don't know. Let professionals study it. However, according to my guess, it should be the device that imprisoned the electric Pokémon just now. Yu said. Is that what the electric Pokémon is called? Jenga said. What else can we do? The Pokémon is still unknown, and there is no doctor to name it. Yu said. If it is a little like Regius, Yu would just call it the Lightning Pillar. By the way, the names of Regius, Regirock, and Regiskilu are not easy to remember. Yu originally called it the Ice Pillar, the Rock Pillar, and the Steel Pillar. But this Pokémon doesn't look like a pillar at all, so Yu really can't call it the Lightning Pillar. Then what should we do next? Genji I said. A professional person should come. Yu picked up the phone and dialed. Guzma, is he still alive? What's the matter? Guzma's cold voice sounded from the other end of the phone. If he is alive, bring people to Weiyang Town to explore the new ruins. Yu said. Got it. Guzma replied, and then hung up the phone coolly. On the other side, Bull Beauty looked at Guzma and said, President, there is a call. It's just a kid. Do you need to call the president? Guzma said dissatisfiedly. But now, he is our boss. We work for him, and you may never beat him in your life, and we may have to work for him for the rest of our lives. Bull Beauty said. Who said that? I will beat him this time. Guzma said dissatisfiedly. Then let's fight again this time, in front of everyone. There are still many people here who don't know our president. Bull Beauty shrugged. In the Champions League, Jenga's attack, those who don't know the business may not know, but those who saw it with their own eyes, how can they not feel the power of that terrifying attack? Although Guzma's strength has improved a lot during this period, and he even found a burning bug in a ruin, to be honest, Bull Beauty doesn't think Guzma can beat Yu. Moreover, Bull Beauty really doesn't dislike her current life, enjoying high benefits and wages, and being with Guzma. TSK. This kid is very cunning. He doesn't know the low level ones, but he doesn't know a few of the middle and high level ones, and the finances are all in his hands. Guzma said dissatisfiedly. Bull Beauty smiled and said nothing. Okay, wait for the people to arrive, and then study this ruins together. Now you send Dr. Mifeng and Sharona to the hospital. Yu said. Why am I the only one here, and you? Genji I said. Look here. Yu said. This ruins was discovered and excavated by myself, and I can't let others take advantage of it. Moreover, there are many dangerous Pokémon in this ruins. They are all unconscious. If a few violent salamanders escape and rush into the crowd and cause harm, it will be difficult to be responsible. Oh. Genji Ui nodded, floated over, and left with Sharona and Dr. Mifeng together with Li Bite Garcomp. Yu walked around, and then walked to the gravity area just now. Everyone has left, and next, it's my turn to study it. How is the gravity field achieved by magic? Yu floated down naturally, and entered the cave. The path is dark and there is no light. If it were an ordinary person, it would be very troublesome. However, Yu was not affected at all. After becoming a ghost, it was almost instinctive for him to see things in the dark. This was also the reason why he liked to have his soul leave his body when he was a child, because this state was really much better than that of ordinary people. After walking for an unknown period of time, Yu came to the end and saw a stone door. He pushed it open. Then, a domineering and hot flame spurted out, and the whole cave was illuminated. A 2-meter tall fire beast appeared in front of him, with flames blazing behind it. The fanatical firestorm attacked Yu. Yu's eyes turned blue, and the ghost power shone, turning into a barrier to block the blazing flames. Roar, any intruder who disturbs the king's rest will die. Yu's expression changed. This Pokémon was actually awake. Chapter 238 Shinji's Challenge. King's Rest, you are still alive and conscious until now. Yu looked at Infernape in surprise. This is the only Pokémon that can communicate after entering the ruins. The rest, including the electric Pokémon, can't. Roar, despicable traitor, intending to rebel, you should be killed. Infernape roared, and flames were blazing around it, swallowing Yu. Yu's figure flashed, avoiding the flames, and then a huge shadow ball attacked Infernape, hitting Infernape and beating it back. I'm not a traitor, your king has been dead for a long time, and the Alan's empire has collapsed. It has been at least thousands of years since your era, Yu said. Roar, impossible. Infernape roared in disbelief, with flames blazing behind it. Don't say it's impossible, this is the fact. How did you survive until now? Yu said. Yu believed that the divine beasts could live for 1,000 years, especially the family of the god pillars, which did not have a normal lifespan. Yu thought it was normal for the ghost type to live for 1,000 years. Even the dragon type, Yu thinks it is possible. After all, the dragon gene is strong. But Infernape, the final evolution of the 3 fire type Pokémon of Johto, Incandescent, is a very promising Pokémon, but its normal lifespan is definitely not 1,000 years. Roar, those who try to explore the king's resting place, all deserve to die. Infernape roared, and the flames behind it burned, turning into a ball of fire, rushing forward with great force, as if to destroy everything. If you don't listen, you can only be beaten, and then calm down. Yu turned his head slightly, and then the ghost power on his body rose, and he attacked Infernape forcefully and domineeringly. Shadow balls covered the sky, and clashed with Infernape's flames, shaking the surroundings. Yu's figure rushed in, appearing and disappearing mysteriously, more like a ghost than Jenga, floating in front of Infernape, and knocking Infernape away. Roar, impossible, how can you, a human, have such a strong fighting power? The Infernape, who was knocked away, looked at Yu in disbelief. Because I'm not completely human. Come, let's study it well and be friends. I'll take you to understand this world, and you tell me how exciting the past was. Yu said with a smile. Roar, don't even think about it, you're going to die. Infernape roared and rushed towards Yu. The flames were blazing all around, burning the stone wall red, and the whole stone room seemed to have turned into a big furnace. Yu's eyes changed slightly. What's the situation with this Infernape? The power is getting stronger and stronger. It has been sleeping for thousands of years, and its power has not reached its peak, so it is now slowly recovering. Yu's eyes changed slightly. You can't give Infernape time anymore. You have to interrupt it. The body became translucent, and a huge black shadow covered the surroundings. The ghost power blocked the surroundings. The terrifying power hit Infernape, and Infernape was immediately hit hard, with a look of pain on his face. But Yu's attack still didn't stop. Jenga is the messenger of Giratina and the strongest trump card under Yu. But is Giratina's favorite Jenga? Of course not. In Giratina's mind, Jenga can't be compared with little Yi. It's okay in the body, but outside the body, Yu is stronger than Jenga. Fall down. Yu was flying in the sky, and a huge dark shadow ball condensed above his head, falling violently. With a loud bang, the whole stone chamber shook, and fell into darkness again. Yu looked down, but didn't see Infinape, only a huge hole in the ground. Dig a hole, my god, it's really a useful trick. Yu cursed in annoyance. In a duel, it's okay. After drilling into the ground, you have to come out to attack. But in reality, Yu can't catch up with him when he is escaping. He can go up to the sky, but he can't go down to the ground. Finally, I know why Tu Xingchen jumped like that in the investiture of the gods. Escaped underground, Yu couldn't chase, so he had to find a lake first, enter the reverse world, return to his body, and then guard outside the Weiang ruins. However, after waiting for a long time, the person he saw was not Guzma, but someone Yu had not expected, Shinji. You are here? Yu looked at Shinji in surprise. I came to travel to Hone, and happened to come here. Is there any problem? Shinji said. No problem. Yu shook his head. When Shinji appeared in Sinop, he had already challenged Kanto, Johto, and Hone, so it was not surprising that he appeared in Hone now. But was Shinji in Xiao's class? To be honest, Xiao's Hone Linoop was almost the worst class. The forest lizards did not evolve into lizard kings. Except for the great king swallow, there was almost no one to show. Even so, they still made it to the quarterfinals, and Shinji did not even win the championship. What are you doing here? Shinji looked at Yu and said. This has nothing to do with you. On the contrary, I want you to leave here first, and don't destroy the precious relics here. Yu said. Precious relics? The yellow Pokémon that suddenly disappeared just now. Shinji said, yes, that should be the most precious thing in this relic, but I advise you not to chase it. It's not a Pokémon you can deal with. Yu said. Shinji is known as the representative of game players, ruthless and decisive, rich in theoretical experience, but still only at the level of being able to show off under the king level. If you encounter a king level, you will die if you really try to capture it. It's not a Pokémon I can deal with, but you can, right? Shinji looked at Yu with a bad look. You understand it this way, it's not wrong. Yu nodded. Then now, let's have a full-scale battle. Shinji said. Full-scale battle? Yu looked at Shinji strangely, and after a little thought, nodded. Okay. Although Yu didn't like Shinji very much, he had to admit that Shinji was quite strong, better than the average gym trainer, and it was just right for him to be the opponent of EV. Shinji's eyes changed slightly. He had been watching the Champions League, and the one who attracted his attention the most was Yu. Because Yu is the only one of his age. He also successfully made it to the semi-finals. He traveled through 2 regions and currently doesn't even have a champion. So, since the competition, he has always regarded Yu as his goal, second only to the battle against the god of the frontier, and has been studying relevant information. Now he finally has the opportunity to challenge. At least, he has to defeat a Jenga. EV, come out and play. Yu took out the Pokeball and released EV. EV jumped out in joy. So cute. Fight well, and there will be rewards if you win. Yu said. EV nodded confidently, indicating that he would win. You still need rewards for fighting? Shinji looked at Yu with a bit of surprise and a hint of disdain in his eyes. I want to fight your Jenga, not EV. If you have the strength, you will naturally let Jenga come. It depends on whether you have the strength to let Jenga come out first. Yu said. You think it is what you want, and I think it is what I think. Don't say that Jenga is not here. Even if he is here, there is no need for him to appear. 1 kills 6 of you, and there is no training effect. Well, Parasaurolophus. Shinji swung his Pokeball, and a Parasaurolophus jumped out of the Pokeball, but unlike the lively EV, this Parasaurolophus had a serious expression. Parasaurolophus, grass, grit, these attributes are not good for EV. You attack first. Yu said. Although everyone is the same age, after reaching the top 4 of the Champions League, Yu became a master. Facing the challenges of these children, he basically needs to temporarily give up the initiative. Parasaurolophus, Sonic Punch. Shinji was not polite at all, and gave orders directly. Chapter 239 Shinji's taunting. The Parasaurolophus leaped, and turned into a white light. The seemingly short fist suddenly extended, and hit EV like lightning. Reflex half, Yu said calmly. A translucent energy shield suddenly appeared in front of Eevee. The Parasaurolophus punched the shield at the speed of sound, and the shield immediately broke, but the Parasaurolophus was also rebounded by this force, and took a step back. Instead, Eevee was forced to flip flexibly in the air, and stabilize his body. Rocket headbutt. But at the moment when Eevee just stabilized, Yu's order sounded immediately. Booyah! Eevee's whole body shone with white light, and the moment it landed, it rushed towards the Parasaurolophus, with smooth movements, like flowing clouds and water. Parasaurolophus was unable to react in time, and was hit head-on by Eevee, and his body retreated again and again. Parasaurolophus, parasitic seed. Shinji ordered. The huge mushroom on the top of the Parasaurolophus squeezed out a seed, and flew towards Eevee. Shadow Ball. Yu ordered, and Eevee opened his mouth wide, throwing a dark energy bomb, completely corroding the parasitic seed, and smashing towards Parasigilla with the remaining force. Parasigilla, get out of the way, Shinji ordered. Parasigilla jumped with its strong and powerful legs and evaded flexibly. Eevee, ram, Yu said. Parasigilla is a Pokémon, based on a kangaroo. It is not too fast for a long time, but it is agile in short distances, and is a natural boxer. In addition, the fighting attribute restrains Eevee's general attributes. But Eevee uses half shot, and in a short period of time, the physical attack power drops significantly, and the attribute disadvantage is temporarily compensated. So, seize the opportunity and knock down Parasigilla. Parasigilla, Sky Punch. Shinji also ordered. Eevee crashed into Parasigilla. When Parasigilla was about to fall, white light flashed on his fist, and an uppercut hit Eevee. Eevee screamed and fell to the side. Parasaurus, split the tiles. Shinji finally seized the opportunity to counterattack, and gave a decisive order, trying to reverse the situation. Parasaurus fist flashed with white light and hit Eevee fiercely. Eevee, dig a hole. Yu quickly ordered. Eevee quickly dug the soil, and drilled into the ground under Parasaurus' full strength punch. Parasaurus punch missed, and was at a loss. Then, the ground loosened, and Eevee flew out of the ground and hit hard behind Parasaurus. Parasaurus hit back again, but before it could find it, Eevee fled back into the ground. Eevee, dig holes in succession, Yu said. Parasaurus can't cause earthquakes, and the power of its fighting type tricks is not strong enough to shake the entire ground. As long as the digging trick is used well, it can be said to be invincible. The subsequent development was exactly as Yu expected. Under the guidance of two digging predecessors, Squirtle and Raichu, Eevee was very skilled in digging holes. Parasaurus was no match at all, and could only passively endure the damage again and again. The only obstacle is that digging holes is a ground type trick, and Parasaurolophus is a grass type Pokémon, so the damage is halved. Using Eevee to fight Parasaurolophus is actually a disadvantage. However, in private competitions, the training is more important than the actual meaning. It is still a 6-to-6 full-scale battle, and the win or loss of the first two Pokémon is not important. So the difficulty is naturally the greater the better. And Shinji seemed to be completely helpless, just watching his Parasaurolophus bear the attack blindly, until Eevee jumped out again and hit Parasaurolophus. After he was about to return, he suddenly trembled all over, and fell to the ground in discomfort. His face was faintly purple, showing signs of poisoning. Finally triggered, Parasaurolophus, Explosive Fist. Shinji said fiercely. The characteristic of Parasaurolophus is spores. There is a 30% probability that the Pokémon that touches it will fall into one of the three states of sleep, poisoning, and paralysis. So Shinji let Parasaurolophus bear Eevee's attacks all the time, just for this moment. Parasaurolophus rushed forward, with a strong white light on his fist, and hit the poisoned Eevee fiercely. After one punch, Eevee screamed and fell unconscious. Eevee has lost the ability to fight. I won the first round. Shinji glanced at the unconscious Eevee, and looked at Yu. Yes, the characteristics of Parasaurolophus are really good. It has been passively bearing attacks. You should praise it. Yu smiled, then looked back at Eevee and said, thank you for your hard work. You have worked hard. Come back. As he spoke, he picked up the Pokeball, and took back Eevee. The one who failed is a waste. Don't you think it's ridiculous to comfort a useless thing? As for Parasaurolophus, if it was more useful, it would not have to passively bear attacks, but should have punch TV out. Shinji said. Every Pokémon that fights for the honor of the trainer and protects the trainer in the wild should be praised and cared for by the trainer. You are like this, which makes me doubt whether you are qualified to be a trainer. Yu said unhappily. Parasaurolophus had been taking damage for Shinji's victory and finally won the battle, but in the end, he didn't get a single compliment. Instead, he would get a little more negative comments like this. This is the code for being an excellent trainer. Choose Pokémon with enough potential to capture, build your own team, and implement my tactical ideas. Then use strict training methods to train and spur them. Praise and emotions are not needed. Pokémon that are not strong enough, and cannot exert all their abilities, and cannot keep up with my pace are useless trash. You should understand this truth if you can make it to the semi-finals of the Champions League. Shinji said disdainfully. It is the trainer's right to choose what kind of Pokémon to capture. No one is qualified to judge. Most trainers choose to capture Pokémon with potential. But if you capture a Pokémon and let it fight with you, you have the obligation to take care of it. Emotion and bond are necessary conditions. If you don't understand this, you will never become a strong trainer. Yu said coldly. Shinji is called the representative of game players for a reason. To capture Pokémon, capture 7 or 8 of the same type at a time, then choose the best one, and release the rest. To fight in a gym, you must prepare in advance, investigate the information, adjust the lineup according to the attributes of the gym trainers, and send out targeted Pokémon. Everything is based on victory. Emotions and bonds are all fake. If you win, you won't comfort them, thinking it's what you should do. If you lose, you may abandon them without any regrets. Some people even use game players to whitewash Shinji. But games are games, and reality is reality. When playing games, if a Pokémon loses, it is probably abnormal to comfort a Pokémon. That is purely data. As for releasing something, there is no such thing as cruelty. It is all data. But in reality, Pokémon are living beings. Trainers decide to fight at will, and those who are hurt in the battle are all Pokémon. As creatures, Pokémon are like family members. Then are you a powerful trainer again? Those who lose the game have no right to speak. I won the game just now. Shinji said coldly. I thought that those who entered the Champions League were all masters, but you made me feel that there might be a deviation. Your emotional ideas are meaningless. Or, your performance in the Champions League depends on the strength of the Pokémon itself, and you are useless. You can only rely on emotions to hold you back, because you have nothing but emotions. Such strength is ridiculous. Yu looked at Shinji and suddenly laughed out loud. Ridiculous? Are you qualified to say this? Regardless of whether I'm the person you said, even if I am, what qualifications do you have to say that you only capture Pokémon with strong potential, and those with poor potential don't? To put it bluntly, you are just the icing on the cake, making Pokémon that originally did not have you, or that could become stronger if they met any trainer, become stronger. You are not important at all to your Pokémon. Pokémon will become stronger after undergoing my training. Pokémon that cannot withstand my training are useless. Shinji emphasized. Okay, I won't argue with you. The game isn't over yet. Squirtle, come out. Yu shook his head and released Squirtle. Arguing with others is always the most meaningless thing, because arguing is never about who is reasonable, but who shouts the loudest. Fists are more practical. It was just a game, but you insisted on humiliating yourself. Chapter 240 let you feel the dangers of society. Squirtle, it's unfavorable again. I really doubt the meaning of this match now. Shinji shook his head and said, Parasitaria, seed bomb. Grass energy gathered on Parasitaria's head, and a seed filled with grass energy exploded, heading straight for Squirtle. Freezing ray, Yu said calmly. Squirtle's feather-like ears trembled, and a cold light shone from its mouth. A beam of ice light swallowed Parasitaria, freezing the seed bomb and Parasitaria together. Parasitaria fell to the ground with a bang, completely losing its combat effectiveness. Useless guy. Shinji took the Pokeball back to Parasitaria, and said this at us feebly. Just now, Parasitaria fought against EV. Although its attributes were favorable, whether it was rocket headbutt or digging hole, the power was halved when it hit Parasiteria, but the cumulative effects of several special moves definitely caused a lot of damage. It shouldn't have continued to fight. It's not that it's useless, but you, as a trainer, are too unimportant and unworthy of it. Yu said. Nidoking, come out. Shinji said nothing, and released a new Pokémon, a 2-meter tall burly figure with a purple appearance that revealed its toxicity. Nidoking, 100,000 volts. Shinji ordered. Electricity flashed on Nidoking's horn, and a strong 100,000 volt current was sent towards Stottle. Water wave. Yu ordered calmly. The rich water element in Stottle's hand condensed and turned into a ball, which was thrown at Nidoking. The water flow and the electric current collided fiercely, causing an explosion and producing a white mist. Nidoking, lightning punch. Shinji ignored the white mist and continued to give orders. Nidoking ran hard, the ground trembled slightly, and the electric light flashed on his hand. He hit Stottle in the direction of his memory. In the white mist, black shadows shuttled back and forth. Nidoking followed the direction of his memory and actually found Stottle and punched Stottle. At this moment, Yu ordered, break the water. As soon as the words fell, Squirtle, who had been standing still, suddenly became stern. The surging water in his hand turned into a sharp sword. Squirtle, like an ancient swordsman, drew his sword and slashed, passing by Nidoking. With another beautiful turn, he slashed behind Nidoking, and then hit him again. 3 consecutive hits. Nidoking suffered a critical hit, and could not maintain it. He fell down, and hit the ground heavily. Double kill. Yu said calmly, continue. Useless thing. Shinji took back Nidoking. His face became a little ugly. He just mocked, and was immediately slapped in the face. Even if he never cared about other people's opinions, he couldn't stand it. You are useless. You have cultivated Nidoking well. It is nearly 2 meters tall. The tallest cultivated in the league record is only 2 meters and 5. You can also find Squirtle in the white fog. The power of Thunder Punch is also sufficient. Nidoking has always been a good Pokémon. But as a trainer, you gave the wrong command. Squirtle is only 0.6 meters tall, which is only up to Nidoking's knees. How can Nidoking hit it with fists? So, you are useless. Yu said. Consider the actual situation, okay? Don't just think about the attributes. It's fine if you kick it with your feet, but you let Nidoking hit Squirtle with Thunder Punch, which is only up to its knees, and you have to bend down. What a waste of time. By the time you bend down, Squirtle has completed a double combo. The water type trick restrains the ground. Double combo, quadruple damage. Do you still have the strength to use Thunder Punch? One more shot, and it's over. If it is really an agile type, like Lucario, it's fine, but Nidoking is not an agile type. Nidoking, whose Pokeball was taken back, smiled slightly in his Pokeball after hearing what Yu said. We are all trainers, why is there such a big gap? My trainer only let me train, and didn't send me to the Pokémon Center immediately after the defeat. It was just a momentary accident. If your Squirtle didn't know Water Stream Split, I wouldn't lose. But your Squirtle shouldn't know Water Stream Split, which is a skill that only Blastoise can master. Shinji said. Because my Squirtle is good enough. Yu said. To be honest, Yu was also surprised that Squirtle learned Water Stream Split. This trick is not like the Destruction Beam, which can only be learned by the final evolved Pokémon, but Squirtle really can't learn it, and it has to be Blastoise. But one day, it just knew it. I don't know if it was beaten too many times by the Armored Warrior, or what. It just knew it. Maybe it was a natural talent, or maybe it got the power of Lugia. Anyway, it knew it. And it practiced it as the biggest trick, and even didn't take the water cannon practice so seriously in the past. He had to change his job from a mage to a warrior. I don't know if he secretly used Lilia's tablet to watch too many martial arts movies. Is he good enough? That's why he can't even get on the stage of the Champions League. Shinji said. He didn't see Squirtle go on the stage in the Champions League and concluded that Squirtle was not a very strong existence in Yu's team. Did you go on the stage? Yu laughed unceremoniously. As if Yu had stepped on his sore spot. Shinji's expression suddenly became even uglier. Don't comment on things you can't do. Although you don't need to know how to refrigerate when evaluating a refrigerator, it's better to shut up if you don't have to feel any pain in your waist. Cloud audience, are you proud? Do you think that I only have Jenga who is very strong, and the rest of the Pokémon are vulnerable, and are completely defeated by Sharona's Pokémon, so I'm bad? You said, isn't it? In addition to Jenga and Dragonite, do you have anything else that is particularly strong? Shinji said. He has studied Yu's information. To you, except for EV, each one is much stronger than you think. In this match, if you can force me to use the 4th Pokémon, I will consider it my loss. Yu said disdainfully. It is really Yun's pride. Just like in the Hone chapter, the heroine's Ioio's younger brother, the third male wins. As a child who studies hard, he has rich theoretical knowledge of Pokémon, so he thinks he is very powerful. After watching the Silver Conference of the Johto League, he mocked Zeus's Charizard for not being good and not knowing how to command. If he came, he would win. As a result, when it came to the actual simulation, a tadpole against a duck-billed Charizard, the attribute advantage was dominant, and in the low-level Pokémon battle, the attribute advantage can basically lock the victory, but he actually kept commanding to turn into a circle to defend, and did not attack with a single trick. Yu originally thought that, although Shinji was ruthless, he at least had judgment, but he did not expect it to be the same. That's right, Squirtle and Flame Horse are very weak in the Champions League. When they meet the main force of the King level, they are killed in one move. Therefore, Yu did not even dare to send them out. There is no performance ability, and it is extremely embarrassing. But the premise is that it is the King level. If it is below the King level, sorry, prepare to be beaten. Looking at Shinji, Yu's mouth gradually became a little ferocious. I really overestimated you. Now you have not experienced the experience of being bitten by Sharona Lion Lushark unscathed, and you have not experienced the devastating experience of being unscathed by Shende. Then, let me first let you experience the dangers of society. Chapter 241 Beating Shinji. Dote Turtle, come out. Shinji threw his Pokeball and released his strongest trump card in advance. How could he not be able to play even 4 of them? Kami Turtle, Frozen Ray. Yu quickly ordered. Dote Turtle has dual attributes of grass and grass, which is restrained by ice attribute 4 times. Even if it is at a high level, it will kneel down after a few hits. Leaf Storm. Shinji roared, and the green energy of the small tree on the shell of Dote Turtle flashed. Countless flying leaves flew out, turning into a green storm, and colliding head-on with the Frozen Ray. They merged together, and overwhelmed the Frozen Ray, and attacked Kami Turtle. High-speed rotation. Kami Turtle immediately understood and stopped attacking. He retracted all the vital parts of his body into the shell. The shell rotated at high speed, to destroy the flying leaves, that were offset by the Frozen Ray. Can the flying leaf storm withstand it? That Dote Turtle, use the most powerful crazy plant. Shinji shouted. The limbs of the Dote Turtle stood on the ground, and the power on its body surged into the earth. Countless thick vines rose from the ground, and attacked Squirtle with strong grass-type energy. Use water gun on the ground. Yu ordered again. Shinji's Dote Turtle was his first Pokémon in the highest level. There was still some gap between Squirtle and Dote Turtle. If it really took this most powerful move of the grass type, it would be over. Squirtle quickly lowered its head and sprayed a thick stream of water on the ground, and its body quickly flew into the sky with the force. Dote Turtle, chase. Shinji ordered again. He trained Dote Turtle's crazy plants by himself, and he knew the longest length that crazy plants could spread. Squirtle's speed of jumping into the sky with the reaction force of the water gun was definitely not as fast as the crazy plant attack. Unless it can fly. Squirtle, bypass the crazy plants and use freezing light on Dote Turtle. Yu shouted. Shinji was stunned, showing an expression of disbelief. Under such an attack, how could Squirtle bypass the crazy plants and attack Dote Turtle? Then, an unbelievable scene happened in front of Shinji. Squirtle rushed up to the sky with the help of the water flow. A pair of wings like ears shone brightly and suddenly became larger. Then it flew quickly, flying at a high speed in the sky, bypassing the crazy plants, and coming behind Dote Turtle. A cold freezing ray hit Dote Turtle. Even though Tootie Turtle had amazing defense, it couldn't help but show a painful expression after being hit by this move. How is it possible? How can your Squirtle fly? Shinji was shocked. The scene he saw was completely beyond his common sense in life. Because it's my Squirtle. Squirtle, use the freezing ray again. Yu shouted. Squirtle flew in the sky with a cold light in his mouth, and a cold light that was more fierce than before hit Tootie Turtle. Tootie Turtle, Yi Baofeng. Shinji could only respond hastily. The green energy of the small tree on the shell of the Tootie Turtle was rich, and countless flying leaves condensed and turned into a green storm, hitting the freezing light in the air. However, this time, it was no longer the leaf storm that overwhelmed the freezing light, but the freezing light overwhelmed the leaf storm, directly penetrated the leaf storm, and hit the Tootie Turtle. Seeing this, Yu smiled. The leaf storm was powerful, and it did not need to be charged like the sunshine flame, nor did it become stiff for a short time after using it like the crazy plant, but there were always side effects. Every time it was used, its own attack power would be reduced. It was the best trick for the Monarch Snake with the opponent characteristic, but it was obviously not the best trick for the Tootie Turtle. It was the right choice to let the Squirtle learn the ice trick of the freezing light. It was worth it. I worked hard to let it learn from Articuno. Come back, Tootie Turtle. Shinji suddenly took out the Pokeball and took back the Tootie Turtle. The body of the Tootie Turtle is too bulky, so its speed can be ignored. It can only use strong defense to resist the opponent's attack, silently endure it, and then wait until the opponent gets close to it before using a fatal blow. Defend instead of attack. This is a tactic that Shinji has formulated for the Tootie Turtle, which fully exerts the ability of the Tootie Turtle. But this tactic, or the biggest flaw of the Tootie Turtle, is that its long-range attack is not strong enough, so there is almost no way to deal with the Pokémon in the sky. Yi Baofeng learned long-range attacks as an extra skill. Shinji did not let the Tootie Turtle learn anything else, because it is really too far away, and the Tootie Turtle can't hit it, which is meaningless. So in this case, the Tootie Turtle can only be taken back. Just looking at Aristotle, Shinji's expression is unprecedentedly solemn. The only ones who can restrain the water type are the electric type and the grass type. But Shinji currently has no electric type Pokémon. He is a person with clear self-planning and strict requirements. Generally, Pokémon disdains to subdue. The electric type Pokémon he plans to subdue are either electric monsters or small magnets. The rest, like positive electric pat and negative electric pat, he doesn't look at them at all. In addition, Nidoking can use 100,000 volts, and Tortoise's grass type can also restrain water type, so there is no special requirement. Now it is blocked by a Squirtle. There are 6 Pokémon, 2 of which have lost their combat effectiveness, and Tortoise is unable to fight. There are only 3 left. If the situation continues to develop like this, it is really possible that they will be defeated by 3 out of 6. Shinji's expression became more solemn. Although he was unwilling to lose to Jenga, he had to accept it. But he lost before he even saw Jenga, and he would never accept it. Dragon King Scorpion, you go. The Pokeball flashed red, and a huge purple scorpion Pokémon appeared on the field. Its whole body was covered with purple hard armor, and there was a claw full of toxins on its arms and tail. Dragon King Scorpion, a scorpion monster Pokémon. The claws on both arms have the destructive power to cut a car into pieces, and can also release toxins. Yu was preparing for the battle when a mechanical voice suddenly sounded, and his expression suddenly became strange. Where did the Pokémon? Turning around, he found that it was Xiaoxu and Lily. Dragon King Scorpion, poison, and evil, both are very threatening attributes, and it looks very fierce. Lily closed the Pokémon encyclopedia and said, "It has to be fierce to scare people. Why are you here?" Yu said, "The people of the Magma team were taken away by Miss Junsha, and then we came to find you." Lily answered, looking at Shinji, feeling that he looked familiar. "Aren't you the one who played with Brother Gladian last time? Why are you here too? This has nothing to do with you. People who are not related, go aside and don't talk too much," Shinji said coldly. Hearing Shinji's impolite words, Lily immediately became angry, but she couldn't go up and beat Shinji up, so she could only sulk. Yu raised her eyebrows slightly. The child had a bad temper and should be beaten. Crumb Squirtle, you come back first. Yu took back Crumb Squirtle and took out the Pokeball and said, Raichu, you come to finish it. Lay Raichu shouted excitedly. The electric bag on his cheeks flashed, and the ground under his feet was instantly covered with electricity. A yellow light. Electric field. Raichu? Shinji narrowed his eyes slightly. He had played in the Champions League, so he had to take it more seriously. Dragon King Scorpion. Cross poison. Dragon King Scorpion immediately swung his arms, and a purple cross-shaped energy mark appeared in the air, hitting Raichu. Shinji was very confident about this attack. Dragon King Scorpion was the second only to the Tite Tortoise in his hands. However, when Dragon King Scorpion hit with all his strength, he faced an overwhelming and terrifying electric current. Raichu, 100,000 volts. The command was given, and the sky was full of lightning. The electric current was as violent as a dragon. Dragon King Scorpion's eyes widened, and he was completely unable to react. The next moment, he was really struck by lightning. His whole body was black, and he fell straight down. Dragon King Scorpion, lose the ability to fight. Yu said slowly. Shinji's face became even uglier. The main trump card was suppressed by card Squirtle, and the second trump card was defeated in one encounter. Is this the difference in strength between the two sides? Chapter 242 Skeleton and Ghost. Nonsense tree, you go. After taking back the Dragon King Scorpion, Shinji released another brown nonsense tree. 100,000 volts. Yu ordered calmly. Raichu ranked third under him, second only to Dragonite Jenga, and even the super evolved Absol could not surpass it. After training with Denji, he integrated the electric field and electromagnetic levitation, and learned almost all the electric tricks that Raichu could learn. He has a new grasp of electricity, and has been reborn. He can be said to be the gatekeeper of the king. Under the king, as long as it is not a ground type, it can beat it, and even if the attributes are strong, the weaker king can fight it. Shinji can't fight it, even if his Dragon King Scorpion destroys half of Zyos' team in the future. Thunder. The electric current on Raichu's body was violent, and it rushed towards Nonsense Tree. Imitate. Shinji ordered. Nonsense Tree's body danced quickly, and white light emanated from Nonsense Tree's body, and it also burst out with a strong electric current to counterattack Raichu. It was just two currents. The moment they came into contact, the current of the Nonsense Tree was swallowed by the current of the Raichu. Then, the Nonsense Tree was struck by lightning, and followed the footsteps of the Dragon King Scorpion. Nonsense Tree, lose the ability to fight. Yu said. I give up. After taking back the Nonsense Tree, Shinji did not take out the Pokémon again, but directly admitted defeat. The defeat of the Nonsense Tree made him understand the situation. There is no need to continue the battle that is bound to be lost. Raichu looked at Shinji dissatisfiedly. I didn't even use my strength. Why did you fall down? Isn't that all the prestige of Squirtle? Are you useless? Shinji ignored Raichu shouting, took back the Pokeball and left. From beginning to end, he didn't think he was wrong. Pokémon are just tools. Trainers in Pokémon don't need boring emotional ties. Those who can't implement their own will are worthless. He lost, not because his ideas were wrong, but because his Pokémon were not strong enough. He wanted to find a stronger Pokémon. Just like the yellow light Pokémon that left just now. Yellow light, it is an electric type. It is impossible to beat the tortoise. That's not the direction to the Pokémon Center. The Pokémon Center is down there. Zyatsu looked at the direction Shinji left and kindly reminded him. After a big battle, Shinji's defeated Pokémon were all injured and needed to go to the Pokémon Center for treatment. My business, you don't need to meddle in it. Shinji said without looking back, and then walked straight forward. What? Sister Zyatsu kindly reminded me, but you still have this attitude. The Pokémon was injured, but you didn't send it to the Pokémon Center. Lily said dissatisfiedly. He lost the game, and was in a bad mood. He didn't care, or he didn't care at all, and regarded it as a punishment for the Pokémon who lost the game. He can do such a thing. Yu said. What? There are such trainers. If you lose the game, you lose. You will work harder in the future. There are also such trainers who don't send Pokémon to the Pokémon Center for treatment. Lily couldn't believe it. There are such people. Don't be angry. It's your own loss if you get angry, Yu said. But such a trainer is too unfriendly to Pokémon. You beat him. He should listen to you, right? Ziozu said. You let Serona beat him. Maybe there is a slight possibility, but I can't. I don't like this guy, but even I have to admit that he is a very smart and powerful trainer with firm beliefs. Although this path is wrong from beginning to end, his determination cannot be shaken by a few words from others. Yu said, Shinji's cold path of not paying attention to feelings at all. The limit is the king, and it may not even be reached. Because one day, Z moves and super evolutions are popular, then there is no doubt that almost all the 4 kings will have Z moves and super evolutions. And these two require the emotional bond between humans and Pokémon, and this Shinji denies it the most. So how can he compare with those who are not worse than him in qualifications? And such a character will not be loved by the big guys. The world's top Pokémon has wisdom that is no worse than that of humans. If you use them as tools, you may not even know how to die. After sighing, Yu suddenly sensed a murderous aura. His eyes suddenly became sharp. He looked in one direction, but he didn't see anything. He frowned slightly. Was he wrong? This shouldn't be the case. Since he inherited the power of Giratina, his sixth sense is no different from that of Pokémon. As he was thinking, a flying ship with a skull mark suddenly flew in the sky and landed slowly. A group of people wearing the uniforms of the Skull team walked out under the leadership of Guzma. Hello, President. Guzma put his hands in his pockets, with a cool and awesome expression on his face, but the members of the Skull team behind him saluted in unison. Their movements were uniform, and their shouts seemed to come from one person. Guzma's expression disappeared, and he looked at a few people with unfriendly eyes. They were so neat, he would never believe that they were not rehearsed. The few people seen by Guzma looked calm. They were from the Kyojin family, so of course they could please their future boss. Yu nodded slightly. How should I put it? It was really nice to be complimented by a group of people. No wonder everyone liked to be the boss. However, when he saw the skull on the airship, 3 black lines appeared on Yu's forehead and he said, Guzma, Skull Team, I give you full authority to be in charge. I will give you the name, but can you not be so rude? There is a skull on the airship. How can you, a member of the ghost family, question the skull? My skull is the ghost that matches you. Guzma said. Yu opened his mouth. He was speechless. He hadn't thought of this. Skeletons and ghosts are indeed a family. They are not human. After thinking about it, he decided not to bother about this trivial matter. He said, everyone, take action and study this ruins clearly. There are still many unsafe places in this ruins. Be careful and don't let anything happen. Guzma nodded and acted quickly. What they didn't notice was that in the distance, the soil was slightly loosened, and a fire beast crawled out of it, with scratches all over its body, looking very embarrassed. It was obviously the one that had just escaped from Yu's hands. Looking at the airship parked on the side, he showed a strange expression. This world seemed to be really different from the past. Did the empire really fall? Have thousands of years really passed? Didn't I just sleep for a while? The king is dead. The country is destroyed. Where should I go? The fire beast thought about it, and then his eyes gradually became firm. Get stronger, infinitely stronger. Go beyond the limit and fight against the pillar of God, just like before. And revenge. No matter what, that human violated the king's resting place. He should be killed. The fire beast revealed a murderous look in his eyes, and drilled underground again. At the same time, a young man in the uniform of the Magna team was on the other side of the hill, watching all this with a telescope. Is this boy the mysterious leader of the skeleton team? Originally just wanted to explore the skeleton team, but didn't expect to have such a big harvest. However, it seems that this is where Huomu and the others came from. The Weiyang ruins has been taken by someone else again. The Skull team has become more and more arrogant recently, forgetting who is the strongest organization in the land of Hone. Chapter 243 Ibrahimovic's Troubles. The person behind Team Skull is a teenager, in the Hone region, an unknown place. Team Magna leader Kai Yansang said, while looking at the photo in his hand. According to the data, yes. The young man who was secretly spying in Weiyang town said respectfully standing in front of Kai Yansang. Team Magma's combat unit leader, Humura. I knew that the person behind Team Skull was from Kanto, but I didn't expect that it was a kid. Kai Yansong sneered. But this kid is not simple. He defeated the first seed player Sharona in the Champions League semifinals. If he hadn't been absent, he would probably be the Sinnoh champion and the youngest champion in the history of the league. His Jenga and the pink unknown Pokémon are both unfathomable. Humura said solemnly. The strength of his Jenga is just a Mega Evolution plus a Z move. How can such a power compare to the power of the Earth we are pursuing? As for the pink Pokémon, it is Mewtwo made by Team Rocket. What Team Rocket can make? Are we afraid of Team Magma? Kai Yansong said. Does the leader mean to attack the skeleton team? Kai Yansong said. The goals of the Fire Rock team, the Water Fleet, and the skeleton team are different, but they have one thing in common. That is, the things they are looking for are all super ancient, and they are all hidden in the ruins. So in the past 6 months, they have encountered them in the ruins more than once, and conflicts have occurred. In the conflicts, the Fire Rock team suffered several losses. Because Guzma, the leader of the skeleton team, is stronger than him. No, there is no need. Our main opponent is a stupid Shu Wutang of the Water Fleet who does not understand the greatness of the power of the earth, and foolishly pursues the power of the ocean. The goal of the skeleton team is super evolution, which has nothing to do with us. There is no need. Kai Yansong shook his head and said, yes. Humura nodded. This is also what he expected. It's not fair, but it's not worth it. However, we still need to determine what is inside the ruins. If there is nothing we are looking for, it doesn't matter. Although they were cheated, they didn't do it to the extreme. They understand the rules and sent it to the police station. There is no loss, and it is still within the rules. But if there is something we are looking for in the ruins, then don't leave any of it. Kai Yansong raised his glasses and said with a fierce look in his eyes, everything is based on finding Groudon. Any hatred that may affect our finding Groudon must be put down. Similarly, any obstacles must be removed. Understood. Huakan solemnly agreed. Buai Weiang Town. After the ruins were discovered, a wave of enthusiasm was triggered. The Skull Team and Dr. Miffin cooperated with each other to conduct in-depth investigations and research on the ruins. Yu did not go in again, and gave the yellow energy block obtained from the ruins to Mewtwo, asking Mewtwo to conduct genetic research to see if it can be used to create powerful Pokémon or to enhance the strength of Pokémon. Mewtwo was very interested. Perhaps because it is not a rock or ice structure, Mewtwo is not opposed to such things. On the contrary, it is very curious about the principle. Ho-Oh can create the 3 sacred beasts, transform Charizard, and Regigigas can create the pillar. It doesn't make sense. It won't work. So, Mewtwo entered the reverse world to do various research. And Yu did not study the Weiang ruins. He is not an expert in this field. He just needs to wait for the results. He still continues to do what he is good at, training Pokémon. Formulate their own unique tactics. However, the main thing to do now is to coax Eevee. Little Eevee has been unhappy recently. Because during the competition, Squirtle and Raichu both won a great victory, only it was defeated, and it didn't beat any Pokémon. And this is the first 6-on-6 full-scale battle it has participated in. So it is depressed. Buai Eevee lay in Yu's arms, looking at Yu pitifully with a pair of big watery eyes, as if a bean-sized tear would fall in the next moment. Okay, don't be sad. It's just a failure. It's normal. Ask your friends, who didn't lose. Besides, don't you like fighting? Yu comforted. Buai Buio. Oh, Ibrahimovic shouted to Yu. He didn't like it, but he couldn't lose. He couldn't drag the team down. Okay, if you don't want to, just evolve. Yu looked at Ibrahimovic and said, are you ready? Buai hearing about evolution, Ibrahimovic was immediately overjoyed and jumped with joy. It had wanted to evolve for a long time. After evolution, its strength would become stronger, and it could live without eating. As long as there was sunlight, it could eat all the time. Comfortable. Seeing Ibrahimovic's happy look, Yu couldn't help shaking his head. This little fool, did he really think that evolution would bring happiness? Only after evolution, you will have a hard life. Before Ibrahimovic was born, Yu had already formulated a training plan for it, and repeatedly pondered it several times. After all, the little guy's birth period is too long. Before Eevee evolved, Yu's main training was physical training. In addition to digging holes, he did not specifically train any other special skills. After all, the skills that Eevee can learn before and after evolution are too different. Especially the skills of the same system. Before Eevee evolved, except for special skills such as Sunny Day and praying for rain, he did not know any special skills of fire, water, electricity, ice, and grass. Therefore, the Eevee stage is the time to lay the foundation, maintain sufficient physical strength, and facilitate the next stage. Once evolved, you can learn a lot of skills. Evolution also means the beginning of destruction. Eevee, who was playing happily, suddenly felt a chill inexplicably and looked at Yu in confusion. Why does it feel so wrong? And it came from Yu's father. It's impossible. Yu's father is so good to me and won't cheat me. Good boy. Yu touched Eevee's head. This is your last game time. After you evolve, you will be like your brother Squirtle. In order to practice the freeze ray, I ate ice cubes for half a month and was even frozen by Articuno for a while. Come on, you are the best. Yu encouraged Eevee. Eevee jumped for joy. It turned out that what happened just now was an illusion. How could Yu's father hurt me? Yu smiled and stood up, thinking about the evolution of Eevee. To evolve Leaf Pokémon, you need to evolve near rocks covered with moss. It's a pity. If you use evolution stones like fire Pokémon, it will be simple. Things that can be solved with money are the simplest, but many things require both money and brains. Wait a minute, go ask Guzma and the others, and Sirona. After all, they have traveled in Hone. Thinking of this, Yu let Eevee play alone, and walked towards Sirona's room. After knocking on the door, it opened soon, and Sirona came out wearing a pair of large black glasses. What's up? Yu glanced at Sirona, who was wearing a loose pajamas, and then glanced into the room. Seeing that the curtains were drawn, and there was no light, he said, although your eyes are damaged, you don't need to be like this. Sirona and Dr. Mifeng's eyes were stimulated by the strong light in the ruins, and they were temporarily blinded, but their strength recovered quickly. Although there were some effects, they were not irreversible. They could slowly recover by dropping some eye drops. It was just that in a short period of time, things would be a little blurry, and they would need to wear glasses. But it was not to the point that they would not see anything at all, which would be detrimental to the recovery of their eyes. There's nothing to see outside, just lie down inside and have a good sleep. That's just right. Sirona walked inside and let Yu in. I won't entertain you. Sit down. What do you want to talk to me about? As she spoke, Sirona sat on the bed. On the bedside table, the ice elf released cold air and had just made an ice cream, which Sirona took. Yu raised his eyebrows slightly. He seemed to know why the curtains were not opened. But, you let Eevee evolve into an ice elf, is it, just so you can make ice cream for yourself? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 244. Sirona joins the team. What are you looking at? Sirona said, lifting her glasses slightly. She had just worn them for 2 days and was still a little uncomfortable. Yu looked at Sirona wearing glasses and his eyes lit up. Glasses are a strange thing. Sometimes they conceal a person's appearance and sometimes they can enhance a person's appearance. Sirona belongs to the latter. The transparent thin-framed glasses, combined with her originally dignified scholarly temperament, have a very friendly atmosphere. What are you looking at? Sirona was even more surprised when she saw Yu didn't reply. No, I suddenly felt that you look better with glasses. Why don't you wear them in the future? Anyway, you still owe me a request. Yu said. You little devil, you are a little devil. Sirona thought of the bet that time and rolled her eyes at Yu in annoyance. You are talking inconsistently. You call me a little devil and a devil. Yu said. If you have something to say, just say it. Sirona was too lazy to worry about the language errors and got straight to the point. How do you know that I came to you? There must be something. Yu said. Professor Oak, Wataru, Shiba, and Kona all passed on their experience. You are looking for someone because you have something to worry about, Sharona said. Really? I remember that I usually chat with them quite a lot. Yu looked confused. Otherwise how could he ask them to help? Obviously, he had a lot of favorability. However, Yu quickly let go of this topic and said, I remember that you have come to Hone for a tour. Yes. Sharona said, this is not a secret. The list of previous champions of the Hone Alliance KIR conference can be checked. Are you curious about why I came to Hone? A little. Yu said, it is not the main purpose, but if you tell me, I'm happy to listen. It should be the same as your purpose. Sharona slightly raised her glasses and said, the same? Do you know what my purpose is? Yu said, don't lie to me. The boulder that came from the sky and made Drake was a super evolve. I don't believe that you don't know this. Sharona said, what she can understand. Yu, who invited Dr. Blatano and Vladary at the same time, can definitely understand. It's just a legend, and it may not be true. Yu said. But it may not be false, right? Sharona said. That's right. Yu smiled. Is it a butterfly effect? Because of me, many things have deviated. Zyro Mao has a super evolved Blastoise. Zyro ZHI has an eternal super evolved Charizard, and Sharona did not become the champion. Now, has the matter of the super evolved stone been studied? So, let's travel together and solve this mystery together. Sharona said. Solve the mystery? Yu's eyebrows moved slightly. Sharona's request really exceeded his expectations. Sharona is different from Xiaoxu and Lilia. Taking Xiaoxu and Lilia together will not affect Yu's research, and what is finally obtained will also be Yu's. But taking Sharona with him will be a little troublesome. If you really find it, whose will it be? However, after a little hesitation, Yu stretched out his hand and said, welcome. Sharona and her family are experts in studying super ancient myths. They can provide considerable help in exploring super evolved stones. Sharona's own strength is even more champion level, and she is an excellent helper. At present, Yu's biggest opponent is not Sharona, but Vladary. He may be able to negotiate with Sharona and solve the problem, but he will definitely fall out with Vladary. At this time, it is good to have more Sharona. And if, in the end, there is really no way to negotiate and solve the problem, Sharona alone is definitely not a match for Mewtwo. The family behind Sharona can't threaten the Kyojin family and the Sasaki family in Kanto. Everyone is not in the same place. Please take care of it. Sharona stretched out her hand and held it. She didn't have as many thoughts as Yu, but intuitively, Yu would know a lot of things. Especially the special Mewtwo and Giratina. Since seeing the power of Yu's Jenga in the game, Sharona never believed that Yu had no relationship with Giratina. It should be you who takes care of me, just like I want to trouble you now. When you travel in the Hone region, have you seen any natural stones covered with moss that can allow EV to evolve into Leaf Spirit? Yu said. Leafleet? Have you decided which Pokémon you want EV to evolve into? Sharona asked. It's its own decision, but I agree with it. Yu said. Let me think about it. Is there a similar place? Sharona's eyebrows moved slightly, and after thinking for a while, she said, there really is one. There is an abandoned temple in the Orange Forest, and there is a moss-covered rock next to it. I went there last time. It was full of grass energy, and Roserade was very happy there. Orange Forest. It's not too far from here. It's just right. Let's go there and challenge the Orange Gym on the way to get a gym badge first. Yu said. Go to the Orange Gym to challenge? You also want to challenge the Hone League? Sharona said in surprise. Yes. Why are you so surprised? I'm not like you who have already played the Hone League and won the regional championship. Until now, I haven't got a formal gym badge. Yu said that the gyms of the Orange League are somewhat like private forms, and generally speaking, they are not so formal. You are a top 4 player in the Champions Conference. How is it different from an adult beating a child to fight against a regional gym? Sharona said. She knew Yu's strength. With the strength of Jenga and Dragonite, no one could stop them unless they were retired old kings, not to mention Mewtwo. Of course there is. The trainer of the Orange Gym is Mr. Kyanli. He was the player who was defeated by you in the Champions League, but he is very strong, okay? Moreover, his main ace, the Leaf King, is a general type and immune to ghost types. Most of Jenga's special moves are blocked, and Dragonite is not by my side. I may not be able to beat him, okay? Yu said. Kindly, isn't he from Johto? Why did you come to the Hone region? Isn't your city always short of people? Sharona said curiously. She still had an impression of the opponents in the Champions League, especially Kindly. In her impression, there were very few trainers who trained the Leaf King, and there was only one person like Kindly who only trained the Leaf King family. Because Chisato's wife is from Hone. As for the lack of people in Johto's Tenno, there is also a shortage in Hone, and it's even more serious. We are short of people in Johto, but those in office are working hard to promote the development of the alliance and fight against evil forces, especially since Sasaki is dead. Now the pressure has been greatly reduced, and Kanto and Johto borrow from each other, but Hone has no shortage of people, but none of them work. Especially the champion, who is digging stones outside every day, so he was transferred here as a candidate for the Tenno. If there are no exceptions, Chisato will be the next Tenno of Hone, Yu said. Since reaching the semi-finals of the Champions League, Kikuko has consciously informed him of the alliance. Really? Sharona nodded. In the past 6 months, she has been in the Kalos region, and has no time to pay attention to these things. Dr. Mr. Orchid did not specifically tell her about these. And those who can become gym trainers are not weak. Their main force can definitely train Leaf Sprite, Squirtle and others. Let's make another bet. Bet on whether I can beat you in 3 years without Mutuo. Yu looked at Sharona and said, bet. When Sharona heard these 2 words, her lazy expression disappeared. She straightened up slightly, looked directly at Yu, and said, okay, 3 years, a full-scale battle. I won't lose to one person twice. Don't make random promises before the game. Also, don't get so close. At this distance, you'll either kiss or hit me. I don't like hitting people, nor do I like to molest you, or be hit by you. Yu looked at Sharona and said, then left on his own accord. After hearing this, Sharona glared at Yu who was leaving, and murmured, little devil. Chapter 245 Leaf Elf Evolution. Sorry, our master and his wife have arranged a new travel package to Nalan Island for 7 days. They just left yesterday. They are not in the gym now, and cannot accept your challenge. In front of Chenghe Gym, Yu, who came here on a whim, heard the words of the gym disciple, and the excitement on his face disappeared immediately. Just left by coincidence? Yes, the day before yesterday, a boy with Pikachu came back with the master's daughter, Miss Xiaoyao, and then went out to travel with Miss Xiaoyao and Master Xiaosheng. The master and his wife booked tickets, so the gym was temporarily closed. The gym disciple said embarrassedly, a boy with Pikachu? Yu smiled bitterly. Don't think about it, Xiaozi. This plot was finally not disturbed by himself. Xiaozi came to Hone to challenge, and then the bicycle killer Pikachu broke the bicycle of Kai and Liz daughter Xiaoyao, and then another heroine came, and it was a buy one get one free deal, and brought the heroine's brother. But, was it so coincidental that it was the day before yesterday? In addition, the son and daughter left, and went to play happily? Are you sure it was not premeditated? No wonder, she dared to give a child to Xiaozi just after meeting Xiaozi. It turned out that she had long been disgusted with the 2 children affecting their world of 2 people. Since the business is suspended, let's go to Kalos City to challenge first. This is also the normal challenge order in the alliance plan. The orange flower gym should be the 5th one. Sharona said. Yes, Yu. Let's go and let Eevee evolve into Leaf Elf. Lilia said. She has not seen Leaf Elf with her own eyes. Okay. Yu nodded helplessly, thinking that there would be a wonderful game. Kyanla's Pokémon is also a good opponent for Flame Horse and Absol. Sharona's little eyes glanced at Yu's lost look, and the corners of her mouth unconsciously curled up. How to say it, she didn't know when she suddenly developed a habit. Seeing Yu, this magical kid, being defeated, she was very happy. Lifting her glasses, she walked in front to lead the way. After walking through the big forest for a few days, they finally arrived at an abandoned temple. Which Pokémon is this temple dedicated to? Yu asked. It seems to belong to the cunning Tengu, but it's a bit old and some things are broken, so I can't be 100% sure. Sharona replied, walked to a rock covered with moss and said, this is it. Yu nodded, took out the Pokeball, released Eevee and said, Eevee, feel the new power. Eevee came out of the Pokeball and saw the mossy rock. It immediately reacted and ran over happily, lying on the rock, and closed its eyes comfortably. The emerald green light shone on Eevee's body. Eevee closed his eyes happily and finally simply lay on the mossy rock and fell asleep. It seems that I need to sleep on it for a while to accumulate strength before I can evolve enough, Sharona said. Yu nodded. In this regard, he was also a master. He took out a leaf stone and placed it next to Eevee. Is it useful to put the leaf stone? Sharona asked in confusion. Leaf stone can't help Eevee evolve. I asked Dr. Yamanashi, the evolution expert of SYNOPSIS, about this question. He told me that leaf stone contains rich grass energy. If Eevee absorbs it, it can also complete the evolution. It's just that Eevee can't use this power immediately, so it needs to lie on the moss rock to absorb the power of the forest. But using leaf stone at this time can speed up the evolution and increase strength, Yu said. So leaf stone is just to speed up? Sharona said. Yes. Yu nodded. Prodigal son. Sharona said, leaf spirit evolution itself does not waste much resources, but now it is wasting more resources than the 3 fire spirits. Yeah. Xiaoxu and Lillian nodded on the side. Hey, it's too much. This is a reasonable use of resources, okay? Isn't it just leaf stone? It can increase strength, the most important thing. Yu said dissatisfiedly. Sharona, Xiaoxu, and Lilia smiled at each other, pleasing to the eye. Yu was helpless. Women's friendship is really a strange thing. The 3 of them became close so quickly, just like real sisters. Of course, they could also be plastic sisters, but he couldn't tell. Eevee needs to feel the grass power of the forest to complete its evolution, which is not a matter of one moment. Yu and the other 4 simply stayed here. They chatted together, discussed Pokémon, and had topics to discuss. Soon, a night passed, and Eevee hadn't woken up yet. But lying on the mossy rock, the green light on his body became more and more intense, and the air around him became a little fresh. It was about to evolve completely, but by noon, it still hadn't evolved successfully. Yu and Sharona were bored, so they sparred with each other. This is also what they do most often. For Yu, there is nothing better than sparring with a champion to improve the strength of Pokémon. For Sharona, beating Yu would greatly relieve her anger. Raichu and Milotic, the old rivals who had fought in the Champions League, faced each other again. Needless to say, there is no room for 2 tigers in one mountain, even if they are both females. 100,000 volts and water cannons exploded violently, shining for a moment. A stream of water blew away the 100,000 volts, and several screams were heard. Yu and Sharona's faces suddenly changed. It was a human voice. Nothing would happen, right? The 2 hurried over and saw a child of 6 or 7 years old squatting on the ground. There was a small black pit in front of him, which was the masterpiece of the 100,000 volts and water cannons just now. The 2 looked at each other with a hint of embarrassment. Yu. Before the 2 stepped forward to apologize for training, a familiar voice suddenly sounded, and Xiaoxi ran over excitedly. Xiaoxi? Yu noticed Xiaoxi next to the child, and then looked at Xiaogang and the girl next to Xiaoxi. He knew that this child should be the youngest son of Kai and Liz family, Xiaosheng. It's Yu, the champion of the last quartz conference. Xiaosheng, who was accidentally affected by the attack of Milotic and Raichu, was overjoyed to see that it was Yu. He stood up and looked at Yu with admiration. It's me. I accidentally attacked you just now. Sorry, Yu said. It's okay, it can't hurt me. Is this the Raichu from the quartz conference? It's really powerful. Xiaosheng saw Raichu and reached out to hug him happily. Wait. Seeing this, Yu hurriedly stopped him, but he was still a step too slow. As soon as Xiaosheng hugged Raichu and Grilly released a small 100,000 volt. Xiaosheng fell straight down, his whole body numb, and a puff of black smoke came out of his mouth. Yu touched his forehead helplessly. Don't you know that you shouldn't get too close to Pokémon you don't know? This is common sense. Although Rachel is not very shy, only you and others can hug it. Even Sharona can't. What are you, a boy, hugging? It's just a child, and it has been attacked once before, so Yu still planned to apologize. But before he could apologize, he suddenly saw a dazzling white light rising from the corner of his eye. Yu was overjoyed, and turned around quickly. He saw Eevee evolving in the white light on the mossy rock. Its body became larger, and rich grass-type power gathered in its body. Many leaves grew on its body, and its long ears and tail also turned green, especially the green leaf on its forehead, which was particularly shining. Chapter 246 Xylos his bubble frog. Ice. When Sharona's self saw Eevee evolve, she happily came over and had another companion. Leaf Elf also happily played with Ice-Elf. Maybe it was the eldest sister-in-law's person. What kind of Pokémon is this? It's so beautiful. Xiao besides Xiaogang looked at Leaf Elf in amazement. Leaf Elf is the first Pokémon discovered in the Unova region. At the beginning of this year, it was clear that the evolution method is to lie on the mossy rocks. So there is no information about it in your home Pokémon encyclopedia. Yu said. I see. Xiao nodded suddenly, looked at Yu and said, hello, my name is Xiao, and the child just now is my younger brother, Xiaosheng. Hello, my name is Yu. They are my companions, Xiaoxu, Lily, and Sharona. Yu introduced them one by one, looking at Xiao, who looked about 11 or 12 years old, full of youthful vitality, and still a reckless girl, not the future Hone dancer. Oh, you are Miss Sharona. You are exactly the same as in the photo. No, you are even more beautiful than in the photo. My name is Xiaogang, which means small and beautiful, and strong. Yu had just finished introducing, when someone suddenly rushed over, knelt on one knee, and made a courtship gesture. Yu slapped his forehead. In the past, there were only Lily and Xiaoxu around him. One was not as old as Xiaogang, which did not meet Xiaogang's aesthetic standards, and the other was a goddess, so he did not dare to express his love openly. As a result, he forgot that Xiaogang's full name was Simo-gang. Xiaogang? Xiaoxu was a little surprised. In her impression, Xiaogang was not such a person. Xiaogang, Xiao and Xiaosheng were also stunned by this scene. They all looked at Xiaozi. They had always thought that Xiaogang was a very reliable companion, much more reliable than Xiaozi. He had a sense of direction, could plan, cook, and fold quilts. He was almost omnipotent. But it turned out to be like this. He rushed over when he saw a beautiful woman. Xiaozi also covered his forehead in embarrassment. At this time, he missed Xiaoxia very much. But now Xiaoxia is in Kanto and has inherited the Cerulean Gym. However, Xiaozi soon found something to be excited about. He looked at Yu and said, Yu, your Eevee has evolved into a brand new Pokémon. How about we fight together? What's the matter? Do you want to be abused by me again? Yu said. It's boring to abuse you, okay? Who said that? Maybe I will beat you. Xiaozi said dissatisfiedly. Okay, it's just right for Leaf Elf to practice. Yu thought about it and nodded, walked towards Leaf Elf, and opened his arms. When Leaf Elf saw Yu open his arms, he immediately threw away the Ice Elf, and turned into a white light. Suddenly, he rushed into Yu's arms as if teleporting. Seeing the speed of the Leaf Elf, Sharona was surprised. Before the Leaf Elf evolved, it was just an ordinary elite level, just above the passing line. It might not be able to defeat a stronger higher level elf, but how could its speed reach the level of a Quasi-King level now? Even if it evolved, it couldn't have such a big change. Sharona felt a little hot, looked up at the fierce sunlight, and thought about it. It's really fast. Tell me, how much stronger has it become after evolution? Yu said. After hearing Yu's words, the Leaf Elf jumped out of Yu's arms in joy, full of pride, like a child who got good grades, and couldn't wait to show off in front of his parents. He raised his slender neck, and accepted the baptism of the sun. The green leaves on his body trembled, and a faint golden light emanated from his body, and the air around him became fresh. Photosynthesis. I really learned it. Yu smiled. With excellent blood recovery skills, he can restore 2/3 of his maximum physical strength on a sunny day. In addition, photosynthesis can directly absorb sunlight and turn it into body energy. The instinct of plants can also purify the air. Therefore, Leaf Elf rarely fights with other Pokémon. Leaf Elf in the wild is often an angel who does not fight with the world. Ye Leaf Elf exclaimed with joy. No wonder Sister Landmantha likes photosynthesis so much. It turns out that it is really comfortable. It's just like taking a hot bath, and it really feels like eating. Love it. Do you have any other tricks? Yu said. When ordinary Pokémon evolve, they usually only have one trick, or even none, and they need to be developed later. But Eevee is different. Every time Eevee evolves, it can learn 2 or 3 skills. The leaves on the forehead of the Leaf Elf shone with a thick green light, and a green blade transformed. Then the Leaf Elf turned into a white light, jumped to a big tree, and then turned back. It took only a breath of time, and when the Leaf Elf jumped down, the tree fell down. So powerful. Zyozzy was amazed. It was more powerful than Pikachu's Iron Tail. Looking at the smooth incision, Yu couldn't help but admire the clean and neat blade of the Leaf Elf. In Yu's heart, it is a top trick, comparable to the throw on Earth. When they met at the Channel Lily conference, Zyozzy's Lizard King used a blade to destroy the Nightmare God Darkrai. That blade was really cool. Therefore, when he conquered the Lizard King in the game, he must equip the Lizard King with a blade. Although the Lizard King's attack is only 85, the special attack is higher, 105, but it doesn't matter, I'm happy. Now the Leaf Elf's blade is so clean and beautiful, Yu decided that a new physical attacker was born. With a racial attack power of 110 and the bloodline of the king, it should not be worse than the Lizard King. Seeing Zyozzy's admiration, the Leaf Elf's body shone with green light, and a seed flew out again, landing on a tree, and then the seed grew branches and leaves, absorbing the power of the tree. Parasitic seed. Yu smiled. Animation magic, a trick that is better than the destruction of the death ray. Leaf Elf showed off completely, and stood proudly in front of Yu. I've performed well, come and praise me. Great, next, let's have the first warm-up battle after evolution. Yu touched Leaf Elf's furry head and said. Leaf Elf nodded continuously, and then looked at Zyozzy with high fighting spirit. Boy, be my stepping stone. The game begins, in a one-on-one format. When Zyozzy fought against others, Zyadagang came over to act as a referee consciously. Leaf Elf, don't be careless. The opponent's strength will not be too high, but it must be very resilient and tenacious. Yu said. Zyozzy's Pokémon are all strong-willed, especially the 2 Hone. At this time, it should be the newly captured Olympus and Bryony. These 2 Pokémon will be very outstanding in the future, but now they are useless except for their strong will. Leaf Elf, as long as you don't take it lightly, you won't lose. Leaf Elf nodded very affirmatively. I will win. Leaf Elf, Frog, you go. Zyozzy swung the Pokéball, and released a blue frog with puffy cheeks and white foam on its body. Frog, how did you get this Pokémon? When Yu, who was originally calm, saw Zyozzy's frog, the nonchalant expression on his face suddenly disappeared. You are cheating. How come you have Hone, the main force of Colorless? Chapter 247 Kajiro's request for help. This is Mr. Komatsu from Johto NG Gym. He asked Ellen to give it to me. What's wrong? Zyozzy asked in confusion. Komatsu? He gave you frog. Yu's eyes widened. Island brought it, that's right. It must be the one from Dr. Platano's laboratory, the one that can evolve with Zyozzy in the future. But why? Komatsu gave Zyozzy a Pokémon, and he believed it, but didn't he suggest Kira? Why did it become frog? Rocks become water. What a difference. Yes, he said he also took your opinion into consideration, saying that I like the dark type, and Frog's final evolution, Greninja, is a dark type Pokémon. Thank you, I really like Frog, and Charizard and the others too. Zyozzy said. Wait, Charizard, shouldn't it be in Oak's laboratory? Yu was full of surprise. What did I hear? Charizard is not in Oak's Cold Palace? Yes, it's not here. It's my Pokémon, so of course we travel together. Zyozzy said as a matter of course, looking at Yu with some confusion, wondering why Yu was so strange today. Have you ever thought about going to a new area, starting over, just like traveling just now, traveling with only Pikachu, and then challenging the alliance with the new partners you met in this area? Yu said, young man, why don't you play by the rules? No, why should you do this? Didn't you bring Jenga with you? Why shouldn't I? I want to catch up with you. Zyos said passionately. After hearing this, Yu took a deep breath and realized the problem. In the original book, the reason why Zyos took a Pikachu on the road was that he saw Zyomeo doing this, and then he followed suit out of his pursuit of Zyomeo's rival. Then, it became a routine. But now, is Zyos his biggest rival Zyomeo? Obviously not. And as his biggest rival, Yu brought it himself, so Zyos naturally followed suit. After all, Zyos is a living person, not a fixed program NPC. No matter what he does, he will not do the same as in the original book. Thinking of this, Yu looked at Zyos' expression more and more solemnly. Eternal spray, hat skin, bonded frog. If he goes to Sinnoh to bring him Fanape, Zyos will really have all the abnormal monsters in his hands. There are also fully evolved King Swallow and Lizard King. Even though Zyos is still Zyos, Yu has to admit that he is under great pressure now. Let's compete. Yu looked straight at Zyos. No matter how much potential these Pokémon have in the future, they are still noobs now. Raichu and the others, none of them will be bad. Okay, Frog, Water Wave. Zyos took the initiative without thinking. Attack, attack, and attack again. This is his fighting style. Frog put his hands together, water energy gathered, and the water blue energy bomb condensed, and threw it at the leaf elf. A flash of lightning, add a knife leaf, and split it directly. Yu said. The leaf elf's eyes were bright, and the green leaves on its head turned into blades again. It moved forward suddenly, as fast as a stream of light, as if it had teleported, and crossed half the distance. The sharp blades faced the water waves. The blades passed by, and in a flash, the leaf elf had already appeared in front of the Quack Bubble Frog. The Quack Bubble Frog's face changed drastically, and it grabbed two balls of foam on its body, and wanted to throw them at the leaf elf's face. But before it could throw them, the leaf elf had already passed through it, and the blades fell, and the Quack Bubble Frog fell straight down, as if struck by lightning. Quack Bubble Frog, lose the ability to fight. It was unexpectedly short, and Zyang, the referee, was stunned for a moment before he pronounced the verdict, looking at Yu's leaf elf in disbelief, and the winner was decided so quickly. Zyao was even more stunned. She knew the strength of the Quack Bubble Frog best along the way. In the same first form, 10 of her fire chicks together were no match for the Quack Bubble Frog, but now it was killed in one blow. This is Zyao, the one who beat his father with Charizard. So fast. This record shocked Zyos and others, and even the trainer of Leafeon, Yu, was a little surprised. This speed is too fast. Even if Leafeon is evolved, it shouldn't be able to perform so fast, unless... Yu looked up at the scorching sun and suddenly said, Leafeon, use the fastest lightning, and run into the woods. Leafeon, who had just won, and wanted to show his joy, heard Yu's command. Although he was confused, he immediately took action and rushed to the woods at the fastest speed, like a flash of lightning, incredibly fast. But when he ran into the woods, it was covered by shadows and there was not enough sunlight, and his speed suddenly dropped. Seeing this, Yu smiled and said, as expected, chlorophyll characteristics. On a sunny day, the speed doubles. Leafeon's original speed racial value is 95, plus the double bonus of chlorophyll, plus blade leaves and lightning. It can kill a lot of people with physical attacks. Besides, there is also a Dragonite that can control the weather and a Flamahorse that can make the weather sunny. They are close to the team and are easy to match. Good luck. Sharona said, it's pretty good. Yu showed a happy face. Before the evolution, he didn't have any special requirements for the characteristics of the Leaf Elves, because the characteristics of the Leaf Elves were all very good. The Leaf Elves have 2 characteristics in total, either chlorophyll or leaf defense. On a sunny day, they are immune to all abnormal conditions, will not be poisoned, and will not be paralyzed. They are also excellent. After all, as a representative of the Dark Flow, he is also very clear about the insidiousness of the tricks such as toxins. Of course, chlorophyll is more to Yu's taste, but sometimes, I'm really curious about how your fighting style will develop. The Kyojin family has never been a violent flow. In the past, your fighting style was full of the Kyojin family style, but now, Jenga, I believe you when you say he is the overlord of the evil type. Dragonite is originally a force that can break 10 skills, and Flamahorse and Absolar not to mention, which is a brute force flow. Now the Leaf Elves are also like this. Are you going to abandon your family's fighting style? Sharona asked curiously. Maybe, after all, it's too troublesome to use the brain if it can be solved quickly with fists. Yu smiled. He still didn't know what his own fighting style was, and he never discussed this issue. Anyway, he would fight in the way he wanted, how he could win, and how he could feel good. It's just that the fight just now was a bit unsatisfying, and he was still short of some sparring partners. Thinking about it, the phone suddenly rang. Yu picked it up casually. Seeing that it was from Kojiro, he answered it directly, but before he opened his mouth to ask, Kojiro's 3 crying voices rang, like a child who was bullied outside, and found his parents. Yu took the phone away with disgust, turned on the loudspeaker and said, I'll count to 3 and shut up, otherwise my salary will be deducted. As soon as the words fell, the other side immediately fell silent. Yu said, if you have something to say, just say it. Do you want living expenses? I'll call you later. Anyway, the wool comes from the sheep, and it's all given by my uncle. No, Xiaoyao, I was beaten. You have to help me get revenge. Kojiro's aggrieved voice sounded. Oh. Yu responded, and then wondered whether to just hang up. Kojiro was beaten. Doesn't this kind of thing happen every day? Anyway, he won't die. You are in home now. Help me get revenge. If it doesn't work, let the little devil and the others come to help me. Kojiro said. Let Xiaozi and the others help you. Are you sure you are right? Yu blinked. Although you are not catching Pikachu now, you are still enemies. No, this time, we found the Pokémon hunters, and then we went to stop them, but we couldn't beat them. But the Pokémon of the little devil and them are powerful. We can definitely beat them, and they will definitely help us. He is the most active in this kind of thing. Kojiro said. What you said is not wrong, but you actually stopped others from catching Pokémon? Yu said curiously. Kojiro and the other 2 were not bad people, but if you really say that they were kind-hearted, that was rare. Because this Pokémon hunter caught wild Gaspam and wild Arbok. Kojiro said. Oh I see. Yu showed an expression of sudden enlightenment. This made sense. Gaspam and Arbok were the Pokémon that had accompanied Musashi and Kojiro for the longest time, and Arbok might even be Musashi's first Pokémon. Okay, give me the location. I'll go over now. Yu said. Will it be in time? If it's too late, it will be sold. You should tell the little devil and the others. Kojiro said worriedly. Don't worry. Yu said calmly, although he didn't know where Zyajiro and the others were, but he had met Xiaozi and Pikachu, so how could Zyajiro and the other 2 be far behind? Pokémon hunter, it was just right. Being a Pokémon hunter, the strength would not be too weak, otherwise he would have been caught long ago, and it would not be too strong, otherwise he would have honestly challenged the alliance, and taken the right path more smoothly. It would be best to be the real training opponent of the Leaf Elf. Chapter 248 Leaf Elf vs Bangula. Orange Forest. A middle-aged uncle with green hair was driving a modified off-road vehicle through the mountain road. There were many gas bombs and Arbok in the cage behind. They were struggling in the cage. Although electric current would pass through and shock their bodies when they touched the iron cage, they still used various methods to attack the iron cage, trying to return to nature. The noise was so loud that the car was a little unstable. The middle-aged man with green hair looked angry. He pressed a button, and the whole iron cage immediately flashed with violent electric current, shocking all the Pokémon. The gas bombs and Arbok could not bear it, and fell down one after another, looking listless. Seeing this, the middle-aged man with green hair laughed. What a bunch of bastards. They don't know how to obey, unless they are shocked. His name is Aaron, the most notorious Pokémon hunter in Hone. Unlike other Pokémon hunters who would treat their prey well, in order to sell them at a good price, he is the most ruthless, and does not cherish the goods at all. He noticed the gas bomb and Arbok snake that fell in the cage behind the car from the corner of his eyes, thinking that he could sell them for a good price. He was full of pride, but he saw a terrifying electric current suddenly erupted in front of him. hitting the car body, and the entire front end of the car exploded directly and overturned. Aaron jumped out of the car urgently and escaped from death. He looked at the front and shouted angrily, "Who is it? Since you ask sincerely, then I will be merciful and tell you. Speak human language." Aaron shouted, but 3 voices appeared at the same time, and Yu hit Musashi and Kojiro each. The 2 guys are really drama queens. When they heard someone ask, they couldn't control themselves and started to speak the opening remarks. "So it was you guys. You still think I didn't beat you enough, right?" Aaron looked at Musashi and the other 2 angrily. The guys who didn't know what they were talking about just got beaten up, but it wasn't enough. "We are here to punish you on behalf of justice," Musashi, Kojiro and the other 2 said proudly. With a backer, they are definitely not afraid. "All you idiots, go die." Aaron cursed angrily, and with a flick of his Pokeball, a giant Bangula appeared on the field. Bangula. Yu's expression changed slightly. "Are quasi gods so worthless these days? You, a Pokémon hunter, have won." However, if that's the case, it's no wonder that Musashi and the others couldn't beat them. "Bangula, get rid of them," Aaron ordered angrily, his expression twisted. Bangula roared, and an orange-yellow beam of destructive power burst out of its mouth, hitting Yu and the others, deliberately wanting to kill them. For a Pokémon hunter like Aaron, killing people is nothing. Thunder Raichu stood in front, with a surging current on his body, and a violent 100,000 volts was emitted, reaching the sky, colliding head-on with Bangula's destructive death ray, overwhelming the destructive death ray, and bursting with energy. Bangula was hit, and his huge body couldn't help shaking and retreating. Yu nodded slightly. It was weaker than Raichu, and it was using the destruction beam. It should have just evolved, and its strength was at the advanced elite level. It might also be that Aaron was too poor to feed it. Pokémon like Bangula were high-end Pokémon that poor people couldn't afford to play with. Very suitable. Leaf Elf, come out to fight. This time, the opponent is very powerful. Yu released the Leaf Elf. Thunder Raichu walked to the side of the Leaf Elf and patted the Leaf Elf's body with its little brown fist. "My boy, I'll leave it to you. Don't fail." The Leaf Elf looked up proudly. It would not lose. The failed EV was in the past. The current Leaf Elf was very strong. "What are you doing?" Aaron raised his gun and pointed at Yu and shouted. He beat one Pokémon and let the next one come. "What do you think of my Bangula? I didn't ask you to speak." Yu's eyes turned cold, and the ghost power surged, covering Aaron. Aaron's body suddenly stiffened, and then he was thrown aside by Yu like garbage and knocked unconscious. Guns, this kind of thing, used to be very intimidating to Yu. But since he followed Giratina, they are just a small thing. "Leaf Elf, sunny day," Yu said. Although the 2 places are relatively close, the sunlight here is not so abundant and needs artificial addition. The Leaf Elf looked up and groaned. The sunlight in the sky suddenly became brighter. The Leaf Elf stood in the sunlight and his physical condition reached its peak. The trainer was defeated first. Bangula was still a little confused. He didn't know what happened. He just lost a wave to a little guy, and now another little guy wants to hit me? Who do you think I am? Bangula was originally an angry person. Now the anger filled his brain. He didn't care about anything. The purple-black energy wave in his mouth rushed towards the Leaf Elf. Blade Leaf, left foot. Yu's eyes were sharp, and he entered combat mode instantly. The green leaves on the Leaf Elf's forehead turned into leaf blades, and the limbs exerted force, turning into a white light, quickly dodging Bangula's evil wave. The blade slashed Bangula's evil left foot. Bangula roared in pain, turned around and swung, and the white light flashed on his arm, and then he attacked the Leaf Elf with a tile-splitting move. However, under the sunlight, the Leaf Elf was agile, and after a strike, it came to Bangula's right foot like lightning. Bangula punched the ground, making a deep pit, but it had no effect. Before he could react, the Leaf Elf slashed with another blade, slashing Bangula's left foot. Bangula roared in pain, and the terrifying power surged in his body. The whole ground trembled, and countless rocks protruded and attacked the Leaf Elf. Jump, blade. Yu's spirit began to resonate with the Leaf Elf, entering a state of forgetting both the self and the world. But there is no need to communicate with words. Maybe it was because he watched too many martial arts movies when he was a child. So Yu also had a special obsession with swordsmen. Fast as the wind, slow as the forest, aggressive as fire, and immovable as a mountain. The fighting style of the leaf elf can be completely close to this. The leaf elf arched its back, carrying Yu's will, and quickly exerted its strength, turning into a flash of lightning, jumping flexibly on the protruding rocks, shuttling around Bangila's huge body, and countless attacks fell on Bangila. Bangila let out a long howl. The sound was rough and painful, and all kinds of violent attacks broke out, but it could not hit the leaf elf. Leaf elf, so powerful, it can suppress such a big Bangila. Zioyao couldn't believe that the two Pokémon with huge size differences were fighting, but it was the leaf elf that completely suppressed Bangila. The battle between Pokémon is not simply based on size. Sharona explained with a smile. Normally, although the combat power of the leaf elf is not as good as Bangila, the gap is not big, and the leaf elf's grass system restrains Bangila's rock system. This situation is not unexpected. Yu's leaf elf is really strong. Zyozzy looked at the leaf elf that came and went like the wind and was as fast as a stream of light and couldn't help but say that Pikachu's speed was not so fast. Your Charizard and Pikachu are not weak either, Sharona said with a smile. Huh. Miss Sharona, do you know me? Zyozzy said in surprise. Of course, I watched the Johto Tournament Champions exhibition match, Sharona said. Although it was not for Zyozzy, she did watch it from beginning to end. Eternal Super Evolved Charizard, exclusive Z move 10 million volts. Although it is not strong now, it will be an opponent that will be encountered in the Champions League in the future. Oh, Miss Sharona, you are traveling with Yu. How strong are you? Zyozzy asked curiously. As a person who is deaf to the outside world and knows almost nothing about things outside Kanto, he has no idea about Sharona's strength. Not bad. Do you want to fight with me? Sharona looked at Zyozzy with a smile, saying that the Eternal Super Evolved Charizard is worth a fight. Okay. Zyozzy's eyes were full of fighting spirit. Maximum power, blade. Yu's command sounded, and the leaf elf followed Yu's command, rushing down. Figures interlaced, blade slashed, green light flashed, and Bangila fell to the ground. Yu looked at the leaf elf with approval, agile and high combat quality, and could train with Squirtle. Chapter 249, Team Skull's Reserve Pokémon. These Abo Snakes, Gas Bombs and this Bangira, all taken care of by you. Yu looked at Kajiro and said, okay, thank you, boss. Kajiro smiled as brightly as a flower. The Double Bomb Gas and Musash's Abo monsters beside him stepped forward under the leadership of Meow Meow to rescue their own tribes. However, Kajiro still looked at Yu with a smile. What are you doing? Yu looked at Kajiro with rejection. Every time Kajiro made this move, he was asking for something. Boss, you said these gas bombs and Abo snakes are so pitiful, and they like us so much, so should we keep them? Kajiro said. No. Yu said firmly, they should return to nature. Then take your Double Bomb Gas and Musash's Abo snakes away. No need to do this. Why not make our home like nature? Anyway, the home is big enough. And we run outside every day, so following us is almost the same as following nature. Kajiro said. Can you take care of it? I think it's good to return to nature, but if you really want to stay, you can't take care of it, so you can only hand it over to the Skull team. If you hand it over, it is very likely that it will become the standard Pokémon of the Skull team. Yu said. Just like Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle. The Alliance has special people to raise them, and then at a certain time, the cubs will be given to new trainers. The treatment of Gas Bomb and Arbor-Snake will definitely not be bad. But Yu doesn't do business at a loss. With such care, Gas Bomb and Arbor-Snake will become the standard Pokémon of the Skull team. The two poison type ones do fit the character setting of Villain Pokémon. Moreover, the final evolution of the two Pokémon, Double Bomb Gas and Arbor Monster, have good combat power, plus the weirdness of the poison type. If used well, they are both difficult and disgusting. Like Aju's Double Bomb Gas, I don't know how many people cried at the beginning. However, Kajiro and Musashi have a worrying command level, and they only like to be straightforward, so they look very bad. Then can they be good to Pokémon? Kajiro said. Don't worry about that. Pokémon and humans make two-way choices. Think about it yourself. Yu said, and turned to look at the fierce battle between Garchomp and Charizard in the sky. How did they fight? He felt that being abused once was not enough, and he was rushing to be abused a second time. Why? Yu walked over and saw Charizard roaring continuously, with flames burning the sky, dyeing the sky red, and the clouds were like burning clouds, but it was still suppressed by the Garchomp without super evolution. Are you under pressure? Xiaoxu looked at Yu and smiled. These two opponents are Yu's biggest rivals at present. However, one is stronger than Yu, and the other is weaker than Yu. There is always some, otherwise where would the motivation come from? But both Pokémon are much stronger than when they first met. Yu said. Yes, Garchomp's speed has not improved significantly, but it has super evolved, and Xiaox's Charizard is about 3% faster than the original Silver Conference. Xiaoxu said. Are you still helping me test this? Yu said. Of course, I'm your full-time breeder. Xiaoxu smiled gently. Yu smiled slightly. Sometimes, he felt that he was too happy. Yu, are we going to Kansas City next? Lilia said. Yes, there is the first gym in the Alliance route, the Rock-type gym, which is just right for Leaf Fairy and Squirtle to practice. Yu said. Kansas City, the largest city in the western part of the Hoenn region. It is a must-go place in Yu's plan. Not only is there the first gym to challenge the established route of the Hoenn Alliance, but also the largest manufacturing group in the Hoenn region, the Duan Group. And the son of the chairman of the Duan Group is the most unreliable and ridiculously strong champion in the Hoenn region, Dago. If you remembered correctly, half of the wooden slips recording the information of the Super Evolution Boulder were in the hands of Vladimir, and the other half were in the hands of Dago. And to the north of Kansas City is the place where Super Evolution was first discovered, Meteor Falls. Vladimir is still sharing information with him. There is also an energy reaction at Meteor Falls, and there may be relics. Naturally, he must go. That's perfect. Let's go to Devon Group. I heard that they have developed a machine that can revive ancient fossil Pokémon. I wonder if there is a chance to see it. Lily said excitedly. It's not difficult. Yu said. Watching the resurrection of fossils does not involve core secrets. Devon Group should not refuse. By the way, we will have a gorgeous competition on the way. You can watch it. Are you interested in challenging the gorgeous competition? It is a common practice in the Pokémon world that companions who travel together will challenge the Alliance in the gorgeous competition. In fanfiction, there are more. First, it is convenient to pick up girls and build a harem. Second, it saves brains and can blatantly mix up the plot and water chapters. I don't know. If I meet one, I might go up and play with it. But if I don't fight, it doesn't matter. I want to travel, see all kinds of Pokémon, gain experience, learn more about taking care of Pokémon from Sister Xiaoxu, and then go back and work hard to become a researcher like Professor Oak and Dr. Kuki. Lilia said. She was not very interested in the grand contest. If she met one, she could play with it, but it was obviously not a lifelong goal. Her plan had been determined a long time ago. Especially now that she has traveled with Yu. She has seen many things that she could not see in books before, such as legendary Pokémon and ancient ruins. These are more important to Lilia than the grand contest. Moreover, Lilia also wants to see if there are any things about the ultimate beasts in these ruins. In modern society, the only one that studies the ultimate beasts is the Ether Foundation, but it is not necessarily the case in ancient times. She has not forgotten to find her father. With so many things to do, naturally there is not much energy to invest in the grand contest. I'm not interested either. It's similar to Lily. I also want to learn more about Pokémon and learn more knowledge. Xiaoxu smiled. Needless to say, becoming the world's #1 Pokémon breeder has always been her goal. Or, it is possible to change her job to become a Pokémon doctor in the future, but it is impossible to be a coordinator trainer. Battles are not her interest, whether it is a gym battle or a gorgeous battle. You are not interested? Then forget it. Yu nodded and watched the match between Sharona and Xiaoxi. Although the outcome was no suspense, the battle between Garchomp and Charizard was still very exciting. Both of them are his opponents. One is the target he is chasing, and the other is the person who is chasing him. Yu couldn't help but substitute the two and imagine the scene of himself fighting against one of them. Chapter 250 Kansas City. Finally here. Kansas City. Yu looked at the tall buildings and the bustling shopping streets with a delighted expression. Since meeting Sasaki and the others in the Orange Forest, they haven't met many people along the way, and they have been walking in the forest. Finally arrived in the big city. Comfortable soft bed, warm hot bath, and a variety of delicious food. I searched on the Pokémon travel website and found that the Chuanxing Street in Kansas City is the busiest street with the most prosperous shopping mall. Lilia said, after walking in the forest for so long, it's time to buy some Pokémon healing items and food. For example, the grinding stone for Garchomp is almost used up. Xiaoxu said. Oh, right. If I hadn't said it, I wouldn't have noticed that Garchomp's condition has been getting better and better during this period. It's all your credit, Xiaoxu. Sharona said. No, being able to take care of different Pokémon is the best thing for me, Xiaoxu said. The three women chatted with each other, but Yu felt something was wrong. Women and shopping streets, these two elements combined together are definitely not a good thing. Dragonite is not here now, and there is no one to carry the bags, so who will carry the bags? Yu's doubts were quickly resolved. Carrying a bunch of big bags, Yu's face was heavy. I'm so stupid. I only knew that Kansas City was prosperous, but I didn't know that girls like prosperous cities more. Even Pokémon like it more. Just like a pink Pokémon floating in front, buying books there. Speaking of which, Yu is becoming more and more curious about Mewtwo's gender. Originally, Yu thought that Mewtwo tended to be masculine, but after getting along with it, he felt that Mewtwo was sometimes like a woman. However, Yu may never be able to solve this problem in his lifetime. In the previous life setting, all the mythical beasts were genderless, and then in reality, not to mention that those people in Team Rocket were killed by Mewtwo. Even if they were still alive, they probably wouldn't know it themselves. After all, Mewtwo is pure gene replication and splitting. Whether it is a man or a woman, they probably have never thought about it. The only consolation is that there is someone to carry the bags together. Yu looked at the Garchomp, feeling a little comforted. Garchomp rarely rejected Yu, but looked angrily at Jenga, who was free and unfettered. Why didn't it use it? Yu also looked at Jenga with resentment. In fact, it would be best to give all the things to Jenga. After all, Jenga's body is a space of its own, but Xiaoxu and the other two girls actually agreed that throwing things in Jenga's body would break them. In the end, Yu and Garchomp suffered. After walking around for most of the day, the three girls finally came to the Pokémon Center with satisfaction. Yu felt relieved. After lunch, he was full of energy and went to challenge the gym in Kansas City. It has a rock style. Is this a regular gym? In front of the Kansas City gym, Lilia looked at the Kansas gym, which was completely made of rock. Yes, building a battlefield that allows Pokémon to exert their strength is probably the only advantage of gym trainers, Yu said. Gym trainers can't change Pokémon, and they have to put them first, which is a big disadvantage. Oh. Lilia nodded. That must be very exciting. I'm really looking forward to your gym match, Yu. Lilia, is this your first time watching a gym match? Sharona asked curiously. I've seen some informal ones, like the Orange Islands, where Yu challenge the Orange Alliance, but the gyms in the Orange Alliance are a bit strange. Yu used Dragonite to compete with Miss Dunley in surfing on Zargan Island, and competed with Mr. Xiaodon in rock climbing and skiing on Napier Island. He competed with AE in shooting on Yuzu Island. Only the 2-on-2 match on Liugan Island was considered formal. Lilia recalled. Orange Islands? I've heard of it, but I haven't been there. Then this match is even more important. You should watch it carefully. The formal gym match is still a little different from the Orange Alliance, Sharona said. While Sharona and Lilia were talking, Yu walked into the Kansas gym. As expected, it was also full of rock venues. Hello, are you the challenger? An apprentice who was cleaning looked at the person who came in and said. Yes, I'm Yu, the challenger from Kanto, Yu said. Miss Sharona, why are you here? After Yu answered, before asking where the gym trainer Duchuan of Kansas gym was, she heard a female voice. She turned her head and saw a mature lady in front of her. She had light brown hair tied into a bow at the back of her head, and she was wearing a short dress with pink tights. Dujuan. I'm just accompanying Yu. The challenger this time is him, Sharona said. Yu? The uncrowned king who made it to the semifinals of the Champions League. Master Yu? Dujuan seemed to have just realized Yu, and looked at Yu with respect. I'm in the semifinals, not even a master. I'm just a challenger now, Yu said. Challenger? Master Yu, you come to challenge me? Dujuan stared at Yu with big eyes, and looked at him in disbelief. A few years ago, she had just become a gym trainer, and was abused by Sharona to the point that she almost doubted her life. Now after several years of training, I have gradually matured, and now there is someone who can beat Sharona. It's just a normal battle, I only use elite level Pokémon. Yu said with a little embarrassment. I'm embarrassed to use all my strength to fight you with your expression of admiration for me. Only elite level. Dujuan nodded, and breathed a sigh of relief. In this way, they can have a fight. Then I have a matter. Can I trouble Mr. Yu? In addition to being a gym trainer, I'm also a teacher at the Pokémon Academy next door. I hope to record our battle, and show it to my students as a teaching video. Is this okay? Dujuan said. Of course it's no problem. Yu said that the battles in previous conferences and the Champions League would actually be recorded. There is no need to keep them private, and they can be used as teaching resources without even asking for the other party's consent. Thank you, Master Yu. Dujuan was grateful, and then entered the battle mode. A student acted as a referee, and walked to the middle to announce the rules. Now begins a battle between the challenger Master Yu and the gym trainer Dujuan. The rules of the game are 2 vs 2. When both Pokémon on one side lose their ability to fight, the game ends. The gym trainer takes the initiative and attacks later. Only the challenger can change the Pokémon on the field at will. My first Pokémon is this, Chobb. Dujuan threw the Pokéball, and a Pokémon that looked like a puppet giant appeared in the air. Chobb. Yu was a little surprised. It was the degenerate form of Chobb. When he came, he checked the information by the way. Chobb was the trump Pokémon that Dujuan and the challenger would fight. Now he released it in advance. Facing Master Yu. Naturally, I can't hide my secrets. Dujuan said. Well, Yi Jingling, come out, it's sunny. Yu's expression was serious. Chobb was one of Dujuan's main forces, and he must have an elite level. He is a good opponent for Yi Jingling. A red light flashed by, and Yi Jingling raised his head and hummed softly, and the sun suddenly became bright. Leaf Elf. Dujuan's pupils shrank slightly. Leaf Elf is mainly distributed in the Unova region. Most people in the Hoenn region don't know about it yet, but Dujuan, as a top student and teacher in the Pokémon school, collects Pokémon information, including Leaf Elf. Grass type, no one has a higher trainer level than him, and his attributes are restrained, so he needs to be completely serious. Chobb. Sandstorm. The command was given, and Chobb's power surged, and the sky was full of sand and dust, blocking the sun, and the vision of the entire training ground became dim. Yu's expression also changed slightly. Sandstorm is the worst trick for Leaf Elf. Its characteristics cannot be used, and its photosynthesis recovery ability is greatly reduced. It is also the biggest flaw of the sunny day tactic. In reality, sandstorm and sunny weather can exist at the same time, but once the sandstorm is launched, the fool blocks the sunlight. Although sunny weather still exists, it is almost the same as not having it. Leaf Elf felt the sunlight disappear, and the buff he had gained was gone. After evolving, this was the first time he encountered such a thing, and he couldn't help but panic. Leaf Elf, calm down and feel the attacks from all around. Yu's voice sounded at the right time. The Leaf Elf, who was a little uncomfortable, suddenly felt certain in his heart, as if he had something to rely on, and looked around vigilantly. As expected of Master Yu's Leaf Elf, he is still so calm. It's my turn. Rock Blockade. Dujuan issued an order. She didn't know which one the Leaf Elf's characteristics were, but no matter which one, it could only be played out in the sun. Sunny days are almost the standard for Leaf Elf, so a sandstorm can definitely suppress the Leaf Elf. And in this way, the Leaf Elf can't be seen. The power surged in Cheobiba's body, the ground trembled, and countless rocks protruded from the ground and pressed towards the leaf elf. Cheobiba's characteristics: the red rock nose has a strong magnetism, and you can sense the existence of the other party without looking. Lightning flash, knife leaf. Yuyu's order was issued suddenly. If Cheobiba didn't attack, the leaf elf couldn't judge, but if Cheobiba attacked, even if he didn't come in person, the vibration of the rock energy could be detected by the leaf elf. Combined with Cheobiba's huge body and the narrow battlefield here, the probability of attacking is more than 90%. The leaf elf suddenly exerted force, and the green leaf on his forehead turned into a leaf blade, cutting off the rock and turning into a green light that came straight to Cheobiba. The green leaf slashed Cheobiba's body, and Cheobiba's huge body retreated again and again. It's worthy of Mr. Yuyu's leaf elf. In this situation, you can still find a chance to attack. Cheobiba uses the electromagnetic cannon. Duchuan said. Cheobiba's huge red rock nose shone magnetically, and strong electrical energy burst out. An electromagnetic cannon attacked the leaf elf. A flash of lightning, blade leaf. Yuyu's order did not change. His training of the leaf elf was very simple: the fastest speed, the strongest attack. Don't pursue any fancy things. The simplest and most unsolvable. The leaf elf moved suddenly, avoiding Cheobiba's electromagnetic cannon, like a flash of lightning, leaving 2 marks on Cheobiba's body, and the green light was rich and exploded. Cheobiba's body shook and he fell straight down, revealing a pair of background eyes. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.